Hello, good evening, and welcome to a very, very special episode of the Roundtable here on Chat with Chaps. It's going to be an interesting one. We are we are deadline day, and it is. I was about to say it's exciting, but at the same time, there's all sorts going on. So we're going to get right into all of this, and hopefully, bring the viewers some exclusives along the way. More to come. But before we do that, let's introduce our panel for this evening, starting with the person to my wrong way, this way. Jesper, welcome, mate. How you doing?
I'm all right. Yeah, yourself?
Yeah, when I can get used to all this. Yeah, all good, mate. Thank you very much.
So good.
Happy deadline day. Happy Friday. Paul, how you doing, mate? Good evening.
Yeah, I'm all right, mate. I'm good. I'm nervous, but good.
Nervous. Yeah, we'll get into the reasons why you're nervous in a minute, bud. And George, how are you doing, George? You well?
I'm good. How are you? Okay,
mate. I am, but I echo Paul's sentiment around the nerves. So let's just start. And hello, viewers as well, and hello, listeners. Just to say hello to a few people. Hi, Bender Beaver. Love that name. Evening, Carl. Evening, Theo. Evening, Jeff. Nice to see some regulars here. Good evening to you all. We will get through the comments, but let's just update everyone on current state of play. We are expecting Zian Flemming to leave Millwall this evening. That is expected to happen. It is believed he is up in Burnley, having a medical right now. He has apparently taken Millwall out of his bio as well on Instagram. I mean, you can read into these things, but it's logical. So we are expecting Zian Flemming to leave the Den. We have signed Josh Coburn today on loan. There's a video that went out earlier, and he is signed on loan with no option to buy. We will certainly get into that. And we will have an exclusive interview in the next 30 minutes with a journalist from Middlesbrough that's going to tell us more about Josh Coburn. He'll be coming on this show in the next 30 minutes once he's finished his dinner. That's what he told me. Then we have all of the moving parts on the Serbian lad, Mihailo Ivanovic. He is supposedly signed, and now we've heard nothing. We're going to get into that. And a couple of potential exclusives of other options that we are chasing that have not yet been shared anywhere else. So stay tuned, because we've got all of that good stuff to come. But without further ado, Zian Flemming potentially drawing a conclusion to his stay at Millwall. Jesper, I'll come to you first. What's your thoughts on that?
I'm not surprised, I have to say. You know, he's been out injured. Has he been out injured? You know, there's a lot of speculations going on. He doesn't come across as a person who would try and force a move. He always is quite genuine that he wants the club to get the right fee, as well as him leaving. But I think he's on his way, to be honest. And I just hope that we played hardball enough to get a decent fee, despite the fact that he's got 1 year left on his contract. But I believe he also has an option in his contract only that we could extend it even further. Yep. So if he goes, he goes. We kept him last season, where we could have got between 10 and 15 million, it was reported. If we can get somewhere around 8 or 10, I just saw rumors about Whittaker maybe leaving for 12. You know, I'd be happy. You know, if he gets his move, it's fine. You know, we need to move on as well, and maybe sometimes also be a bit less sentimental about our players. We spoke about this earlier, about also Millwall being a business, and we need to get some money in as well. So I just hope the deal is also the right for the club.
I agree, Jesper, and I think that the deal is supposedly a loan move with an obligation to buy, and I think whilst on the surface, you're probably like, everyone will be thinking, why on earth are we allowing him to go on loan? Well, we would be allowing him to go on loan because if Burnley get promoted, we would probably get a much better deal and fee for him next summer than we would this year, also with FFP coming into play for them. So there are reasons to the madness that people think, why on earth is he going and why is he going on loan? How much of a void do we have to fill, Paul, with Zian Flemming going out the door?
That'd be a big one, mate. It would be a big one. I looked earlier, just so it's 32 goal contributions in 80 games. So that's a lot of, obviously, goals and assists to fill. It does intrigue me that you said, obviously, about the fact that we'd get potentially a little bit more if they go up. And the last game of the season, who have we got? Burnley away. So if we're safe, you heard it here first. Hutch and Murray Wallace are starting again at centre half. That is the rumour.
Please don't do that to us, Paul. We can't. Listen, love Murray and Hutchie, but Jesus Christ, no, thank you.
But no, seriously, no, yeah, it's hard because I'm gutted, and you do want him to stay. But I agree with you. If it's the right price, we stopped him last year. He got his head down. It weren't the greatest of years, so if we can get a decent fee, I think it makes sense all round. As long as we can replace him.
As long as we can replace him, and that is key. And who at this late hour could we be looking to go after? And hopefully more on that very, very soon. But George, I want to ask you, obviously on the surface, Zian Flemming, the goal contributions, he's technically our best player. To Matt's point there in the chat, the lack of creativity we've already got. But with the style of play that Neil Harris likes to play, and let's not forget that Gary Rowett tried to shoehorn him in on the left-hand side, if you remember Zian Flemming. How much of a miss is he in that regard if we can bring in maybe another centre forward?
Well, as we know, Neil Harris wants to sort of go with the 4-4-2 formation. As we know, he wants to bring in a target man striker to partner with a little man like he did back in the day with Steve Morrison and Lee Gregory. Go 4-4-2. But for me, first and foremost, I don't want Millwall to make the same mistake as in previous years, right? We look at the Jed Wallace situation as one example, where I think we should go down the route as much more of a selling club, right? Millwall don't ever sell players. So I think the first and foremost thing is, right, when it comes to the Zian Flemming deal, is it's important we get the right deal and the correct deal we deserve, because we've got 2 years out of Zian Flemming and we've developed him as a player. We've put him in the market now where lots of, say, top European clubs or top teams in the country or in this division anyways are starting to look at him. And of course, the numbers speak for himself. He's our top goal scorer. He's our talisman. He's our best player. So that being said, considering he's our best player, we have to get the right fee for him. None of this loan deal, malarkey. Let's get a good deal for him, good money, which we can then reinvest back into the squad. Okay. Now, in terms of
you tell him, mate.
Neil Harris obviously wants to play 4-4-2. He wants to play 4-4-2. And you'll have to look at that. Where does Zian Flemming fit into a 4-4-2 formation? Does he play wide? No, because we saw him play wide last season. Does he sort of drop further back into that centre midfield position, or can he play up front? I always saw Zian Flemming as a second striker. He's a number 10, but he's not the creative type of number 10. If you look at Callum O'Hare, who's just gone to Sheffield United, he's much more of a natural number 10 who's more creative, can pull the strings, play nice through balls. Zian Flemming's much more of a goal scorer. He's much more of a second striker. So could Zian Flemming do a job next to a Langstaff or a Bradshaw or a Josh Coburn? I think he could. I think he could do a job up front. I'm not sure about you boys, but I think I'm talking for too long, so I'll let someone else have a say.
No, George for Prime Minister, the way you ended that speech, mate. Before we just come on to that, guys, I just want to say we have 300 people listening right now, and that is honestly blowing me away. So thank you very much for listening. Stick with us, because I think we're in for a very interesting evening, and as soon as we hear anything, we will share it with you. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Remember, every penny we make this season goes to Cancer Research UK. So if you don't know if you're subscribed or if you haven't, please just click that subscribe button and you'll know it's going to a very good place. Also, just want to give a shout out in the chat to Mr. Fev's Football Analytics. So he is, give him a follow because he does some fantastic analytics stuff. You know me, I'm a bit of a geek with data, and he does some amazing stuff. And he's going to be coming on the show to do a proper deep dive very, very soon about all things Millwall. So watch out for that, and good to hear from you there. We have this from Ben the Beaver. I love that name. I can't go over that name. He says, comfortable our best player. We haven't improved in terms of creativity and goals. Something could be better. Zian Flemming, number of chances created, action since he's been at the club. Lads, like, what do we think of that? And he's going, all right? I think we can all agree on that, unfortunately. If you could bring in one additional player, what type of player would you want to bring in? Paul, I'll come to you first.
Well, I'd replace him with another striker, a mobile striker. To be honest, I think that would be my preferred, because I feel like Harris is going to still use Hanneman as a cam, and I think Esse will be the backup in that position now. With Aziz coming in right mid, so I just feel like we need someone to replace his goals. Like George said, he's not the most creative, but we are going to miss his goals. So if we can get someone that does a bit of both, then yeah, I can kind of understand it. But to be honest with you, I can't throw a name here because I just don't know what's out there. I don't know what's out there at the minute for us, especially at this stage, mate.
Especially at this stage, yeah. So we will be hopefully able to reveal a few names within the next hour. But let's see what happens, because what's the time now? 9:13. So we've got an hour and 47 minutes until the window shuts. Here's a question for you then. Based on what we have now, Jesper, does Josh Coburn start tomorrow?
No, he doesn't. I think coming in on a Friday and having to play Saturday is maybe just one step too far. He will be in the squad tomorrow. He'll be on the bench. I think Langstaff will start tomorrow. It's just a guess, and I could be wrong. But let's see. I don't think he will. I think he will be used as an impact. Or there could be a surprise. We play two up front tomorrow, and Coburn is one of them. So far, we haven't done so. We played this 4-2-3-1 formation, and I don't think he's going to tinkle too much with it. I think maybe going into the international break, we'll get 2 weeks. He knows what squad he will have. I just have a feeling tomorrow we're going to go with the same thing, because we haven't played that badly in the first 5 games. We haven't, apart from the Leyton Orient game. We can scrap that one. So I just have a feeling Langstaff's going to start tomorrow. We're going to go for result, of course, as we always do. But I think he will come on later.
See, I think Coburn's going to start. I can't see him. I can't see him not starting him. Yeah, I think Harris is very not too painfully, but he's digging out Langstaff, and he didn't have a good game the other day. So I think he's that cutthroat that he'll bring him in, and he's probably said to him, "Look, I need him here by 12. You're starting the next day." None of us know, but I can see him starting.
But what we'll say, just to add to that point, right? If he does start Josh Coburn tomorrow, what the hell does that say about Macaulay Langstaff? What the hell does that say, considering we bought him in for a solid amount of money, has been here for the whole of pre-season, scored bags full of goals over the last 2 seasons, and then we bring in a kid on loan, and without even being in the building 24 hours, he's in the team ahead of him. What does that say about Langstaff? I'm not sure. I personally think Langstaff will play up front. I think with Neil Harris, I think it's a bit too early, really. He likes to integrate these players into the squad first, so I think he'll appear off the bench. I don't think he'll start personally.
George, I've just got to say this, Paul. Sorry, mate. I love how George refers to someone as a kid. I just grabbed me. I was like, oh, okay, yeah. But in fairness, Josh Coburn, he does look pretty young, doesn't he? Like, let's be real. He does look pretty young.
Baby face.
Go on, Paul. You were saying, mate.
Just I just find it weird that Langstaff, obviously watching, he's only had won 4 games, so you can't judge him. But how he played on Tuesday is not how I envisaged him playing at all. I always thought he's going to be running in the channels and kind of, I know we didn't create much, but further up the pitch, he was dropping really deep, picking up the ball and trying to turn. So I don't know if that was Harris's instruction, because that's what he wants, which obviously suits like Coburn and the Serbian bloke if he does come. But yeah, it's just strange.
It is strange. And I don't want to spend too much time talking about non-transfer window related stuff, because that's why everyone's here. But let's just spend a couple of minutes on what do we think's just not working with Langstaff at the minute? You know, is it? Yeah, what is it like? Because it just doesn't seem to be working, does it, chaps? You know, he's either not playing minutes, or when he is playing, he's flattering to deceive. And I'm not expecting bundles with him, because you can't put him in for 70 minutes expecting to be a world beater. But there's just certain things you look for in players, like ability to control the ball and things. And it's just not quite there, is it, Jesper?
Thing is, he hasn't played that much, and then he gets a game at home against Leyton Orient, maybe against a team he used to play against last season, and maybe he's just trying too hard. You know, nerves plays a part as well, and he's dropping too deep where he should be up front as well. And maybe Harris was just going to say, you know, calm down a bit. You know, you need to stay up front. That's where your strengths are, and not coming down, not dropping deep and receiving the ball. So I don't know. I'm the type of person who like to judge players on a 5 to 10 game basis. Everyone can have a bad game. It's his first game at the Den, playing full 90 minutes. So, yeah, the game was a shambles in itself. No one performed well. I don't want to hang him out to dry. So
No.
I'm excited to see what he can actually bring once he settles in, once he's played a few games in front of the crowd at the Den as well. So, yeah, let's see. I don't want to judge too early.
No, and I think this is a really important point as well. And there's a lot to be said for our style of play. I think, Macaulay Langstaff has often played for sides that have created bundles of chances, and he's just been in the box to finish them. That's not what a Millwall number 9 does. It could be in a 2, though. It could be. A Coburn Langstaff gets me a little bit excited, to be honest. The Coburn Langstaff little 1-2. But I still think we need another striker. Before we talk about that other striker, gents, I want to talk to you a little bit about Romain Esse. So Romain Esse has signed a new deal, which for me, I think is great news. I'm sure you'd all echo that. Brilliant to see him locked down as one of our own. Is he the man that takes up that number 10 role? And George, I'll come to you, mate, because I know you've got a pointed opinion on this one.
Yeah. Listen, going quickly relating back to the Zian Flemming scenario. Obviously, if Zian Flemming leaves, what that does do, it creates a clear pathway for Romain Esse to sort of fit into that number 10 position, doesn't it? And I'll talk about midweek, Leyton Orient in the Cup, which was, genuinely speaking, a very poor team performance. But I thought the one player who stood out for me was Romain Esse, who came on at half-time. I don't want to say he had the bit between his teeth, but to put it lightly, he just looked better than everyone else. He came on in the little touches. He looked like he wanted to create. He looked like he wanted the ball. Really good, really impressive, the sort of 20, 25 minutes he had in that number 10 position. And Ian Harris put him on the wing. So, listen, I think it definitely clears an open pathway for Romain Esse to play in at number 10, where I think a lot of us agree. I don't know about you, gents, but I think he certainly is a number 10 preferred to a winger for sure. I think he's a number 10.
George, I think it's a spot-on observation there. It felt like he come on, and I think Joe might have said this in our midweek show, like, come on, he was like, right, give me the ball. I'm going to be the one. All right, and I know he didn't, but he was the one, as you saying, he took the game to him. He was like, give me the ball. I'm going to create something. I'm going to do this. And he sort of seems to be stepping into that role. He's maturing. He seems to have beefed up a little bit. Even when he speaks, he talks with a bit more maturity. His defensive work's getting better. And all of the time that keeps happening, we could have a gem on our hands, which, yes, okay, we may have given him a new contract, but he's the sort of player, back to your point earlier, George, that we need to harvest. And then when the time is right, unfortunately, and to Jesper's point, let him go and sell him for 10, 15 million, but then reinvest. Don't you think, Paul?
100%. And he is, I agree with George as well, he's taking responsibility. He looks, rather than, well, he was trying to get the team playing, wasn't he? He was the one dropping back and he was getting stuck in, doing slide tackles on the halfway line. I'm just glad he's committed to us now. And that's one less thing you've got to worry about going forward.
100%. Well, look, let's do a quick time check, gents. We've been live now for 20 minutes. No more sign-ins. The silence, gents, is deafening. It is absolutely deafening. What do we think's happening? What's going on with the Serbian lad? What do you think's going on with the Serbian lad? Do we think that we just
maybe
wait?
the chat? Get the chat to say what they think. What do they think's going on?
That's a good point. Yeah, chat. Let's for those of you listening, there's 480 people listening right now. It's absolutely amazing. Thank you for all the support, guys. You have no idea what it means. Genuinely, you have no idea. So thank you very much. Stay with us, because hopefully we'll have something more exciting to talk about later. But put in the chat, what do you think is happening with Mihailo Ivanovic? That's my Serbian accent there. What do you think's going on? And let's do some funny ones as well, just to make it banterous. Tommy started us off. He fell down the stairs and got injured after his medical, so they called it off. Wouldn't surprise me. Would not surprise me in the slightest.
Whilst the chat are sort of debating what's going on with our Serbian striker, let's just talk about Ivanovic. So, listen, £3 million, we're breaking the bank to bring in a 19-year-old kid. I can actually call him a kid this time because he is a kid. We're bringing in a 19-year-old kid for £3 million, it's gonna absolutely blow our transfer record, right? It's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure. He probably doesn't speak English, doesn't speak good English. He wouldn't have played. Well, we know how many games he's played, but he wouldn't have had many senior starts or appearances. And to come to a completely foreign country for him and to perform for a hefty amount of money, it's a lot of pressure. What do we think, boys?
I agree. Yeah, I agree. It's a lot. I think that's why we did the Coburn deal as well. Even though we couldn't get him permanently, I think that's why we brought him on loan, because you can't just leave it up to whether he's like you say, £3 million or 500 grand. You can't just throw it on a 19-year-old kid to lead the line and have your hopes on that. Going forward, that's what I think, mate.
Yeah,
I really hope. I'm laughing because I really hope it does go through, because I have 2 shows ready to go out the minute that it does. I've got one based on all of his data, and then I've got one that actually is an exclusive interview with the marketing director of the club that he's just signing from. So I've got some pucker videos to go out. So I just bloody hope it does, so that we can share that content with you. I think Adam makes a funny point here. You're not a true fan if you actually believed we signed 4 players on deadline day.
We're always hoping, right? I mean,
we're always hoping.
Yeah.
Matt says he's not injury prone enough to join us, so they sent him home.
Good one.
He was here to interview for head steward role after Tuesday's joke. Ben, look, mate, just get on the show. Stop bloody writing into us. He's seen the showers don't work in home changing rooms. Listen, mate, none of that. We've had an upgrade in those showers, so none of that. We've sent him back so we can sign Kiefer Moore instead. God, Kiefer Moore, Jamal Lowe, obviously he's playing against us tomorrow. They're just names that we're constantly linked with.
The black book.
The little black book. Yeah, it's well and truly there, mate. Don't you worry. Turned out to be Rob Hulse in a mask. Oh, well, what can I say? What do you think about Wes Harding? So, this one seems to be a weird one, right? Because it was told he's not for sale. And Richard Cooley, I got in trouble for this actually earlier. Someone messaged me and went, "Did you know his name is Richard Cooley, not Cowley?" So, sorry, Rich. You might be listening, mate. I don't know. But that came out as if he's not for sale. And then all of a sudden, he can go. What's going on there? What do you think's going on there, Jesper?
I feel for Wes in this instance. If this is not something Neil has decided yesterday that suddenly he doesn't want to play Harding. We've seen in the beginning of the season he doesn't play many games. He's got Hutch. He's even got Mossa preferred ahead of Harding. So he's got no chance, I reckon, to go out today. Everything has got to happen so fast for him to leave now, doesn't it? I mean, even if it has to be a loan deal. So I feel the club should have taken a stance earlier, said maybe early in August, say, Wes, okay, if you find something that works for the club, that works for you, we'll look into it. And then let him go, which would obviously have given us a chance as well, maybe to bring someone else in. And now it just leaves everyone in a pickle, because as I see it, if he leaves, we're one centre back short. We're not going to get anyone in tonight, I reckon. So, yeah, I think that was a very poor call, to be honest.
Now, well, they say with me, I think that it was more that because there was rumour with Harding and Bradshaw going, weren't there, around the same time. And the thing that I think that because we weren't bringing anyone in, they basically, it would have been bad PR for the club if we'd have moved them on. So we've kept them and kept them and kept them. And obviously the other clubs have given us an ultimatum and they've moved on. So yeah. I'm hoping for his sake that he can find a club, and for us, I'd have him as third choice, to be honest. I'd have him ahead of Hutch. So yeah, if he does go, hopefully they're taking his wages.
Yeah, I agree. I actually think Wes Harding's been incredibly disrespected, not just with this current transfer room which is going around that he's up for sale, but even last season from the fan base. I think he came in and no one really expected him to be too good because we signed him from Rotherham on a free transfer. No one really expected him to be good, but he came in and I remember Plymouth away, he was unbelievable. Really good at Plymouth away. And then he sort of was a mainstay in the team under Rowett, and then Edwards came in and then it sort of just fell apart for him a bit, and then he wasn't in the team at all under Harris. But I still think there's a good player in there. Based off what I've seen with my own eyes, I still think there's a good player in Wes Harding. So the fact that we're now trying to get rid of him, and then going obviously going back to what we've all read today, that he's been listed for transfer. Who are we to be selling a centre half? Have we seen how many goals we've been shipping at the start of this season? I don't know about you boys, but we actually need a centre back. Maybe we need more incomings, like another centre back joining him. But I think we could do with keeping him, because I think he's actually a better backup. Following from what you said, Paul, I think he's a better backup than Hutchinson and Murray Wallace. He's at a younger age as well. So listen, I think it's harsh, and to potentially, I know Wrexham were obviously interested at the start of the window. For us to turn down bids for him and say no, he's not for sale, and then at the start of this season not play him at all, and then on the day of the deadline then turn around and say, oh no, he's actually up for sale. I think he's been a bit hard done by. I do think he's been a bit hard done by.
Yeah.
Agree. Is my mic working, by the way?
Yes.
Yeah, good stuff. Okay. Had a little panic there. Agree. And Wes is someone that I had the pleasure of talking to at the end of season awards last year. And can I just say, football aside, what a lovely bloke, like a really, really nice bloke. So on a personal level, I hope the club do right by him, because he's just a nice person. Do you reckon it's potentially Harris again making a statement? Do we think it could be doing that? You know, to say, look, I'm going to say that I need to keep Harding unless you bring me in another centre back.
I actually think it's more of a case that the player just wants regular game time. I think it's that. I think Wes Harding's gone, listen, based off the start of this season and based off the incomings, etc., I'm not going to get many minutes this season. So I want to go somewhere which will give me minutes, and that's totally fair enough. If he wants minutes at a club where they're going to play him consistently, even if he drops down to League One, fair play. You know, you can't knock it, and from the club point of view, they can't really do much about that.
It was weird timing as well, because Richard Cooley we're going with, yeah? Cooley. Richard Cooley.
I was corrected. So apparently it is Richard Cooley.
Richard Cooley. On Tuesday comes out, it's not for sale. So everyone is expecting him to start Tuesday night. So I wonder if maybe there was something half lined up. We've said, like, you're not going now, you're staying. And he's kicked up a fuss maybe. So he's been left out of the team. And maybe Harris is now saying, right, well, we had problems with Nisbet. He's gone. So I'm going to let you go. And maybe we do get a replacement. Who knows? How long we got? Hour and a half.
Hour and a half. Well,
anyone know a centre half?
I don't have a centre half, but I can raise you a new guest to join the show. So you know, we've made a sign in. Unfortunately, Millwall haven't yet.
Is he good in the air?
He's not good in the air. He's good at drinking beer and he's good at eating curry. I know that for a fact. He's very, very, very good at that. And he's a big Oasis fan.
Steve Gallen.
Steve's not very busy at the minute, so he said he's going to jump on. Oh, God. Welcome, Mr. Ben Green. How are you doing, Ben? Benjamin, how are you?
Yeah, I'm all good, fellas. How are we?
Hello, bud.
I can't say living the dream because we're not.
I am, mate. As you said with the intro there, mate, I've got a Oasis ticket. So whatever happens tonight, I do not care because I'm happy.
Good.
Are you sure Zian Flemming goes out the door?
Well, yeah, okay. Let's be a bit serious now. If he goes out the door and nothing happens, then a little bit concerning, right?
We were just discussing that, mate. I know you put a few things in the chat, but what's your view on Zian Flemming leaving the club?
Look, I think we all thought this day would come. Well, we knew it would, right? My opinion has always been, as long as we get a decent enough fee for him, we have to start being better at buying players, developing them, whether they have a season or two with us, and then we move them on for a decent resale value, and then we reinvest it, which it looks like, or we're hoping has happened here, right? We're going to be getting the fee, whether it be now or the end of the season, from from Burnley, and then be reinvesting it in the big Serb and whatever else we're doing. So that's the way it's got to be ultimately, chaps, isn't it? So yeah, look, sad to see him go if he does move on, but I don't think we thought we were going to keep hold of him forever. So.
No, I guess it's probably just a little bit disappointing that he's been injured, and I do believe I believe he has been injured. I don't think it's been a thing where he's been just angling for a move. So I don't know. I could be wrong, but that's from the information that I have. So hopefully that is true. But it would have been nice to sort of give him a bit of a sort of see you later, because he has made an impact, and I think whatever we sell him for, we will have made a significant profit. And one of the other things that will make a significant profit is, I don't know if you recall, there was an article that came out that we managed to buy out his sell-on clause. I don't know if anyone recalls that. So that is a fantastic bit of business by the club. And I think it was actually Alex Aldridge, one of his final gifts to us, that managed to negotiate buying that out, which could be worth a lot of money, couldn't it, chaps?
You're looking at it now, mate, thinking it's a shrewd move, right? I'm assuming, again, maybe anticipated this. But yeah, looking at it now, I think it's a shrewd piece of business that we've done there.
Yeah. Well, some exclusive news for you, ladies and gentlemen. We are apparently being linked with a last-minute move for a chap that's already scored against us this season. Mileta Rajovic from Watford is potentially being lined up for... just get this little tie here. Make sure not quite yellow, but it will do. Got me tie on. So Mileta Rajovic may well be on his way to the Den. Both Derby and Millwall looking to make a sign-in. What do we think about that, guys? Does anyone remember? He scored twice. He scored against us bloody last season as well at Vicarage Road. Paul, do you know much about Rajovic?
I remember thinking, he looks all right. When he come on as a sub, he was a handful. I actually mentioned his name in the chat a while ago as someone I thought we might look at. Although when I've heard Watford fans, they basically say he's a little bit lazy. But he's a big old. I think he's like 6'5", 6'6". He's a big guy. He's different to what we've been linked with so far though, because from what I've seen of him, he's not pacey. He's not going to be dribbling with the ball. He's going to be just a target man.
The question is, why are we going for him? That's like what's. Is this...
I was just about to say, mate. The cynic in me says something's gone wrong. But that's me being pessimistic.
Yeah.
Surely we couldn't sign 3 forwards in a day, could we? Coburn, Rajovic. Do we dare to dream?
And it will be 3 similar type of strikers. If you say Rajovic, the Serbian, Coburn, all tall target men. Do we need 3? I don't think so.
I was about to say,
okay.
Yeah, I was about to say we've gone from having no target men at the club to having potentially 3. I've just gone on his Wikipedia. He's 6'4", number 9 for Watford. And listen, looking at his records, he has scored goals for clubs I can't pronounce for the life of me, so I'm not going to bother. But nevertheless,
I think I can mention a couple of them. It's Næstved in Denmark, and it's Kalmar in Sweden, and then it's Watford, and it's gone pretty fast his career. I think he played in the second best division actually here in Denmark, and I read about him, and he scored quite a few goals. He went to Sweden, played 1 season. Watford fell in love, brought him over, and I just don't know if he just haven't been able to cut it in the championship. I think actually he scored quite a few goals last season. Did he end up 9-10 goals, something like that? It wasn't.
He scored 2 midweek. He scored 2 midweek against Plymouth in the cup.
Right. Okay.
So he seems to be. This is a great point here from Fev's Football Analytics. He seems to be someone that just seems to be in the right place at the right time. That's the way I would describe him. That's how he scored 2 goals against us. So he was the one who scored the 3rd goal against us this season, if you recall, where we thought it was offside, but it wasn't. And then he scored the last minute. He scored last minute twice against us now. Last minute goal when they drew 2-2 with us back in last season. So yeah, that's the only thing I could think of. Very, very interesting. yeah, as Matt says, does this mean that the Ivanovic deal is off? I don't know. One thing I will say is it's quite weird that we've not heard anything, right, Jesper?
Okay. I just have a conspiracy, and I could be completely wrong. I just have a feeling that the Flemming deal has to go through before we can sign Ivanovic. If we're looking at 3 million, this is a club record signing. I don't know how much we have in the bank, but I just reckon that we need maybe that money to facilitate that move. It's just a guess. I could be completely wrong. I was just sat here thinking today when I heard the rumors about Flemming going, that maybe this has been going on for a couple of days now. And they would bring the Serbian in to make sure that he could do his medical, he could be here on time, so that if this happened today, we were ready to do the business as soon as it went through up at Turf Moor. It's just a guess.
It'd be better PR as well, wouldn't it? I was saying, because you can't. If the last bit of the business today is Zian Flemming walking out the door, that's painful. That's like when Leeds said, "Oh, don't make sure you wait up, don't go to bed yet," and then they sold whoever it was. Yeah, you can't have that as the last thing you do. So I'm hoping with Jesper that it's all part of the plan, but we shall see.
I mean, one thing I will say is, can you recall a transfer deadline day where we actually can't go to bed? Because I don't. I remember years ago, and I'm showing my age here, that we signed out of the blue Andy Keogh. I don't know if anyone remembers that. But out of the blue, it just came from nowhere. And I remember being ecstatic because there was, it wasn't what it is today where there's leaks and all kind of stuff like that. I remember signing Andy Keogh. So hopefully we're gonna pour a centre back out of the bag. We're gonna, sign 2 strikers, and we're gonna break our transfer deadline twice. Let's see what happens there. Carl makes a good point here. If Flemming is injured, will he pass the medical? That's a good point.
Is he injured?
Yeah.
Conspiracy theorist tonight, Jesper.
But Paul, that's what I get from you. I mean,
yeah, it's contagious. You can't help it.
It's contagious, yeah.
He's meant to be back fit, wasn't he? Harris did say about after the international break, 100%, possibly involved tomorrow. That's been the line for a couple of weeks now. I was told he was definitely injured, so it's not a complete lie. He's definitely been injured. He's been in the gym. But yeah, I imagine he's going to have a miracle recovery if there's 30 grand a week put in front of him, 4-year deal. Yeah. But also about the loan thing as well, it makes no difference to us. It makes no difference because they'll pay over the length of his contract and they'll pay a loan fee like we've had to do with Coburn. So we won't lose out. If anything, it benefits us because Flemming doesn't get to play against us twice this year. If he goes on loan to him, he can't play against us. And I imagine the fee will just be split over the 3 or 4 years we get it anyway.
Yeah. And the thing that concerns me, though, is that will be if Flemming has gone, it will be a loan with an obligation to buy. But the Coburn deal isn't, is it? It's a straight loan. What do we think about that, chaps?
I'll jump in. Surprised. I can only assume, again, or hope, probably more like that we've still had that conversation with them. Whilst there's not an obligation there, they might see how he gets on. And it's always a funny one, isn't it, when there's no obligation to us? Because if he does come in, score 15, 20 goals, you're just either alerting Borough to take him back again or, another championship club with a bigger budget, more money than us to come and take him, right? So if it is just a straight loan, then it's disappointing. Well, sorry, if it is just a straight loan, get my words out, and there's not been a conversation had that there's a possibility of a permanent deal at the end of it, then that'd be disappointing, but we'll have to wait and see. And someone has just seen on Twitter, sorry to go back to Flemming, that apparently he's taken Millwall out of his Instagram bio. And I have just had a look at that, and he has.
Ben, no yellow tie for you, mate. Which was one of the first things we said 40 minutes ago.
Sorry, mate. Sorry.
You might want to get out of the queue for Oasis tickets.
Oh, I'm going. I'm leaving. Sorry.
No, I'm only kidding, mate. Yeah, I think it's done. I just don't believe for a second the club will allow Flemming to go and not have someone coming in. I just don't. No. I don't believe that. it's just not happening.
Which also, just to butt in, also makes it more and more obvious that we're just trying to replace him ASAP before he goes. If you look at all these players we're linked to, the Serbian Ivanovic, Ball Coburn. We're yet to talk about the lad from Fulham who was on loan at Wigan, who Blackburn were also interested in as well. So, you know, we're trying to get all these different players in. It all adds up, doesn't it? That we're trying to get a replacement in ASAP because the club know that Zian Flemming will leave, which will be disappointing, of course. But listen, if we're going to get some sort of fee for it, hopefully it will be a good one. We've got 2 years of good service, so that's all you can say, really.
Don't know if you've spoken about it already, Chris, but what do we think a good fee? What would we be happy with?
I'll give my view quickly. So I think, given the structure of the deal, which is loan and then a permanent fee later, I would expect there to be a substantial loan fee of, I don't know, $1 million. I'm making it up. I don't know. And then I would imagine, depending on whether they go up or not, will then dictate the fee that we get for him. You know, I wouldn't like him to leave for anything less than 5 million. That's like my absolute lowest. Of course, I want upside on that. But that would be my fee. So, you know, $1 million with 4 to come. Maybe it's 5 or 6 if they get promoted. That would be where I'll be looking for. Paul, what do you think on that, mate?
No, I'm going to go north a bit.
Go on, mate. Do it.
I want north a bit. Yeah, no, we've got to be 7 or 8. Got to be 7 or 8. I'd like to think maybe, or 6, maybe 6 if they don't go up. 7.5, 8 if they do go up. You see some of the fees flying around. They've offered, it was 12 million for Morgan Whittaker, with the same loan to buy thing, and Plymouth have said they can't get replacements, so he's not leaving. You got the Norwich have sold someone for 4.5 million. Kid that was at Portsmouth last year, Kamara, he's only played in League One. So all of these big fees. So I just think you've got to know your market, and we shouldn't undersell him. That's the thing. We don't need to sell him. It doesn't help us to sell him. So it's got to be right for the club.
Birmingham apparently bringing in Stansfield for around 10 million in League One. It's ridiculous.
What's all that about, honestly? Right, I just want to do a quick check. So we're 43 minutes in. We have 814 people listening live. It's blowing my mind. It's the biggest live we've ever done. So thank you ever so much. Okay, we are potentially linked with a player from Ipswich. Okay. And I am trying my best currently, multitasking terribly, to get someone on an Ipswich journo onto the show imminently to talk to us a little bit about it. So bear with us, because that's something that I'm trying to line up right now. So that could be a really interesting one to hear a little bit more that could be going on until the later on. It's a link. There's no guarantees of any sign-ins, but it's a link that we've had this week. And it would be really good to understand from Ipswich's side what they think about the player. So stay tuned, because we're trying to get that person on. It will only be audio, but we're doing our best to get that person on. Chaps, 10 million. Jay Stansfield. What on earth is going on in League One?
Mental, isn't it? Mental. And going back to the Flemming scenario and what Paul said, we got to stop underselling our players, because if you're looking at Jay Stansfield going for 10 million in League One, you know, I think we've got to look at Flemming around the same price. But say 10 million in League One, if we're going to compare it to a Premier League, it's like a Premier League side spending about $1.5 billion on a player. Like 1.5 billion on a player is like the League One equivalent to 10 million. I mean, it's just absolutely mental, isn't it?
I still don't understand the rules. Does anyone else know how it works in League One? Because obviously,
no,
is it because
not
they're new
anymore, not
owners that
after
they get to
today.
do it, or even with the Lyndon Dykes as well? He's on like 20 grand a week, apparently, allegedly. 20 grand a week, £1 million from him, and then they've already got Alfie May, and then they're going to have him 10 million rocking up front. Mad.
I've never wanted a club to not go up so much in
Oh,
my
yeah.
life. Right, we are going to be joined by Portman Blue. So I'm going to add them to the stage.
Not the good old Jim Mackleton, is it? Ipswich.
Jim Magilton. Yeah.
Yeah.
Portman Blue, can you hear us okay?
Yes, can you hear me loud and clear?
We
Yeah.
can. Thank you very much for joining us. A little bit of an exclusive. So, Portman Blue, is our understanding that we have been linked with two of your players this week.
Okay.
One of which is Marcus Harness,
Yep.
and the other one is your forward, formerly of Wimbledon, Al Hamadi.
Yep.
I don't know if you have any news in terms of where you think they will be going. Is there any truth in our links there? But would love to know a little bit about that, and also just tell us a little bit about both the players, if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely. Number one, been a bit of a topsy-turvy day for us. We've been in for Armando Broja all day. Looks like he's now going to be out for 3 months, so that has collapsed. So there is a potential that Al Hamadi will not happen. He's currently our third choice striker. I think a lot of fans, at least, really wanted him to go out and get a loan in the Championship. Would have been really beneficial for him. Think he would have done well at that level. But it looks like maybe until January he's going to stick around and offer an option. We do have the problem of the amount of players we've got registered to the squad. We've got like 28 or 29, and we're looking at Reece Nelson now as well. So we have to cut a few players before the window shuts in literally like an hour or so. So yeah, hard to know. But if it does end up materializing, number one thing you'll get with both of them is unreal hard work. They are very, very system-based players in terms of they will fit into whatever your manager wants, give 110%, and I think your fans will love that. You know, you'll see that at least they'll die for the badge and give everything, and that's what we've seen in the last 2-3 years. So it's 2 years with Harness and just over a year. Oh no, it's half a year to a year. Yeah, with Al Hamadi, it's been. But they both give everything. To your question of how each of them perform, Harness definitely best off the right. I don't know where you're looking for your squad depth. I don't know what positions you're looking to fill right now. Everywhere. It's been a nightmare, isn't it?
You're playing goal? No, I'm joking.
Yeah.
But tell me, mate, like Marcus Harness has been a bit of a squad player for you over the last sort of year or so. Is that fair to say?
Absolutely, yeah. Even coming into the back end of last season, I mean, we brought in Sarmiento, who played ahead of him. So he's always been that sort of extra man, more from the bench than anything else if we need him. But he has shown quality at times. We had a game against Birmingham, 2-0 down, came on with about 30 minutes to go and scored both goals to equalise last year. So he does have some quality. We definitely see his best attributes being used on the right. It's where he played the majority of his time for Portsmouth as well, I think, and we've predominantly used him on the left. So I don't know if that maybe contributes to anything. But the one thing I will say is we played some fantastic teams in pre-season, teams that are going to be in Europe this year and everything. And he's looked ahead of the game. He's looked fantastic. He's actually been one of the stars of pre-season, which was a surprise to most. He's even popped in against Liverpool and City, I think it is, and we couldn't fault him. You know, he's obviously not going to be your best creator. He's not going to do anything out of the blue in those games, you know, to unlock anything, but you couldn't fault his effort. He put everything in, and you know he's going to chase everything and all of that. So I think in the Championship, if you get him consistently playing, I do think you could probably get a player out of him, to be honest.
Yeah, well, I think Marcus Harness, I think possibly linked between us earlier on in the week, and then it looks like Derby are in for him right now as well. So it might be that he ends up at Derby, and then Al Hamadi will just have to keep an eye on in the next hour or so.
Yeah, the one thing I'll say about him, he was nursing an injury all of like the back end of last season. Came on for sub appearances. He's had surgery. And is rehabbed from
right in.
Yeah,
buckle up,
boys.
He's
rehabbed from that perfectly by the looks of it. Has come back this season fairly strong. Scored against Wimbledon in the cup. I know it's only Wimbledon, but you know he looked sharp in that game, and again effort. But he picked up like 4 goals in very limited sub appearances last season, and again, nursing an injury. He seems to be good at finding space in the box and clinical when he gets those chances. So I think he could be really good if he gets some consistent game time.
Well, Portman Blue, thank you very much for coming on, mate. Really do appreciate it. We'll have to see if there is anything in that deal. But yes, much appreciated, mate. And listen, I hope you managed to get some deals done yourself. And
likewise, I hope you
I'll speak to you before the end of the evening.
hope you get a new 11. See you guys later.
Thanks, mate. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Bye.
So that was Portman Blue, a knowledgeable Ipswich fan who was coming on to tell us a little bit about. We were previously linked with Marcus Harness. Looks like he's going to Derby. God, I feel like I sound like Jim White, but there could be something still in Al Hamadi. However, switching gears to a player that we have signed, which is Josh Coburn. We welcome Craig from the Borough Gazette, who's going to tell us a little bit more about Josh Coburn. Craig, welcome to the show, mate. How are you doing? Thank you for spending some time with us this evening.
Not a problem. How you doing, lads? And sorry it's a bit later than expected. I've had a bit of a hectic day, but yeah, thanks for having me.
Mate, I can imagine all with the rumours of Latte Lat possibly going out, and then he's not, and obviously Coburn going earlier in the day. So thank you, mate, for spending some time with us. So Josh Coburn, a season-long loan deal coming down to Millwall. What did you make of that deal, Craig?
Well, first off, I'm quite pleased, and I imagine most Middlesbrough fans will be, that it is only a loan, because I think early suggestions were that it was going to be a permanent, and certainly on the Millwall end and the Borough end, it seemed that was the kind of briefing to expect a permanent transfer. But for whatever reason, this late on in the window, it's become a loan, and as I say, I think from a Middlesbrough fan perspective, it's that's a positive thing, because he's a local lad. He's really popular, and there is that feeling that there's still a lot of development there to do, where he would then become potentially a Middlesbrough first team player still as well. So I think there'll be a lot of Middlesbrough fans happy that there is still a potential future for Josh on Teesside.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I think I speak on behalf of most Millwall fans to say we're disappointed that there is no obligation to buy, or at least an option to buy, because if he does really, really well, we're basically just harvesting talent to give it back to you, which I guess is frustrating for us. But I guess my next question is, do you think he'll do well? It seems to me that the system you play doesn't necessarily suit his qualities, but maybe the system we play, which is slightly more direct, does. What's your view on his qualities, Craig, and what you think he can bring to Millwall?
Yeah, pretty much what you've just said, really. I think that's why we expected a permanent transfer, really. And while as much as we all hope, as the local boy, you always do get behind the local lads, don't you? He will have a future. I think realistically, he will struggle in Michael Carrick's kind of system. Obviously, you never know in football what the future holds, but Middlesbrough are very much kind of long-term at the moment, and very much behind Michael Carrick. So it seems like he, has a long-term future at the club. And with that in mind, his style of play doesn't really suit Josh. Josh is a big striker. He's not necessarily a big kind of old-fashioned bully type of centre forward, but he has really improved on the kind of physical aspect of his game, and his ability to play with his back to goal and hold the ball up. But I think Josh ultimately, his bread and butter is in the box, like a proper centre forward. I remember it was Neil Warnock who first gave him his debut at Borough when he was just 18, and I remember Neil Warnock saying, bearing in mind all the clubs and all the players he's worked with, that Josh was one of the most naturally gifted centre forwards in terms of his movement in a penalty area. I know Neil Warnock is Neil Warnock, and he'll put a spin on these type of things. But yeah, I think it spoke volumes, and it's something that we've definitely seen at Middlesbrough is, if you put the ball into the box, Josh will find a way to kind of, escape his marker, and he's good at finishing, particularly in the air.
Ben?
Yeah, I'll come in, mate. Hi, Craig. Just a quick question. It was just Josh obviously mentioned about when he heard that Millwall were interested. It was a move that obviously happened quite quick, and one that he was quite keen on. Do you think his play style will suit us in terms of quite a direct, aggressive nature in a way that we play? Do you think Josh will be suited to that?
Yeah, as I say, I think he's definitely had to work on that side. I wouldn't say he's a naturally aggressive kind of old school bully kind of centre forward, when they'll kind of, put defenders on the backsides and things like that and win those kind of 50-50 duels. I wouldn't say he's necessarily that. I think he's still got a lot of kind of development in the physical aspect to do, but he certainly improved in that. And I think that was one of the aspects in where actually he was doing well for Middlesbrough, certainly in a little period he had last season, is that they didn't have anybody after Tuber Akpom left who would kind of play with the back to goal and hold it up well. He is quite good at holding defenders off and protecting the ball and laying it off for teammates, bringing his teammates into play. I wouldn't say he's going to, if you're kind of lumping it long, he's probably not going to be winning those headers against defenders, but he will. He's a tireless worker. One thing you'll notice with him is he works and works and works, and he'll not make life easy for any defender. So if you've got players in and around him, he'll perhaps pick up the second balls, the loose balls off his challenging. Then he could thrive in that way. But certainly, I think if you can, get balls into the box, he'll definitely score a few with his head with 100%.
That kind of leads me on to my next question. What sort of formation have you been playing, Craig? And obviously we play with one up top. Do you think he'll be suited to that? Do you think he'll be that focal point?
Yeah, providing you get players, as I say, close to him, around him, then definitely that is, pretty much what he's been doing at Borough. Borough tend to play a 4-2-3-1. When Coburn's played, it's looked a little different to when Latif, who is the main man, because Latif's very much a kind of last shoulder running in behind type of striker, whereas Coburn, he had a lot of injury troubles last season, but he had a 10-game run in the team where he started 10 games consecutively, and that actually coincided with Middlesbrough. They had an awful start last season. I don't know if you guys remember that, but they didn't win 1 in 7. And Coburn coming into the team, that was when it turned. And he actually added a little bit of a different dimension for Borough because Latif was struggling at that time. And as I say, just having that someone up top who could play with his back to goal, could hold the ball up a bit. It took the pressure off him a little because the Middlesbrough are a team who commit a lot to attack, and when they didn't have somebody who would hold the ball up for them up top, it tended to go straight back the other way, and they were caught out on the counter a lot. So Josh certainly kind of added that to the team in the little period that he had.
Amazing. And last one from me, mate, before someone else jumps in. If he does have a successful loan spell, do you think there would be that view of a permanent move, or do you think if it was successful, perform well this year, that you would sort of want to get him back up there?
It's an interesting one, as I say. Realistically, if I'm being honest, and I really like Josh, and I hope he does have a Borough future, but I'm not sure he is suited to Michael Carrick's style. And we've also signed Tommy Conway here this summer, so obviously a lot of drama around Emmanuel Latif today, but he's going to stay at least for now. But next summer, particularly if they haven't gone up, then who knows where that one stands. So there's a lot of kind of moving parts that make it uncertain, but I certainly think that there's potential there, I think, for this being more than just a loan deal, because there is, a gut feeling that Josh probably doesn't really suit what Borough are trying to do. But, from Borough's point of view, I think even if it's not for a future with them, they'd kind of secretly hope that Josh does really well at Millwall and, puts himself in the shop window for interest from other clubs as well, and potentially a bidding war.
George, I think you've got a question, and then I think Craig, I think you've got more deadline deals stuff to do, so we'll let you go. But Craig, George, you want to ask your question, mate?
Yeah, well, mine's not so much a question; it's more just well, it is a question. But when Millwall were first linked with Josh Coburn earlier in the window, Middlesbrough were away at Leeds the day after, I think it was, in the Carabao Cup, and I thought I'll stick it on. I've got nothing better to do, and I thought Josh Coburn played really well, got a goal and an assist. His link-up play was quite good, and the goal was pretty much a tap-in, but he scored. He got on the score sheet, and I sat down and I thought, wow, why on earth do Middlesbrough want to sell him? And I looked online, and people say, "Oh, that's weird. He's not usually this good," etc. And then on the game at the weekend, or it might have been midweek actually, in the second round of the Carabao Cup, he missed an absolute sitter and Middlesbrough lost 5-0. Does this show that Josh Coburn can be quite inconsistent, or does that inconsistency, come with age, do you think? And do you think they can grow out of that?
Yeah, I would think so. I think the one thing about certainly his time at Middlesbrough is that he's never really had a long run in the team. As I say, he started 10 consecutively, and he probably would have been disappointed last season to have only scored 5 goals. But I mean, 1-2 really that was. So he probably wouldn't be too disappointed. But there were some chances within that I think he definitely would, be expected to score as a Championship centre forward. And you mentioned the game in midweek there when they were beaten by Stoke. It was 2 minutes into the game. And he was played through on goal. I think one thing that chance highlighted is actually for such a big lad, he's got surprising pace as well. He can run in behind if there is space there, and he did get himself through on goal from quite a deep area. But then, having got there, the composure was lacking, and he's got to at least hit the target, but he sends it wide, and at that point that could change the game. And it's only 2 minutes in, but from not going 1-0 up, Borough suddenly ended up collapsing and losing that game 5-0. And it's how brutal the Championship. I know that was a cup game, but Stoke are Championship, and how brutal it can be. So certainly, I think that's an area of his game he's got to improve in. But in terms of is he inconsistent or not, I'm not sure we've seen him consistently in the team enough to decide whether he's inconsistent or not. But like I say, there were definitely a lot of development still to do there, but 100% a player who he'll run through a brick wall for Millwall. I'll guarantee that.
It does sound like he's going to really suit us. Everything you've said, that his willingness to work, he seems like a really good person. Hold the ball up. He's got a little bit of pace enough to get him past people. Sounds like he's gonna hit the ground running here, and I think you can be rest assured, Craig, and any Middlesbrough fans will look after him, and hoping he has a really good season and doesn't want to come back. In all honesty, but there we go. But Craig, I know you've got to go because I think you're working on possibly a centre back coming into you in Middlesbrough. Yes, if you've got any spare, let us know because we could do with one.
It's not Wes Harding going the other way, is it? He's really good, Craig. If you want him, 5 million, you can have him.
I should have kept the last lad on because it's a lad from Ipswich we're getting, so he could have given me the lowdown on George Edmondson.
I would have loved George Edmondson, but yes, Craig, thank you so much for coming on at this late hour, an hour to go before the deadline officially slams shut. Really appreciate it, mate. I'm sure it won't be the last time we speak, and just want to thank you again for coming on, mate.
Pleasure, lads. Thanks for having me.
Have a good evening, Craig.
Cheers, you too, lads. Bye.
Cheers. Bye.
Oh,
Well, gentlemen, we are it's 4 minutes past 10. We have 1,081 people listening to this stream across Twitter and YouTube, which is just insane. So thank you very much. I'm going to do my normal plug because if I don't do it, I'll be cross with myself. But if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. We now are in a position where we can start raising money for Cancer Research UK. Every single penny this channel generates this season all goes to that cause. So if you're not subscribed or you're not sure if you subscribe, please check, hit the subscribe button. It's all going to a great cause. And all of the lads on here tonight are doing this and giving their time up in the hope that we can raise some money in the future. Do we need to raise money for Millwall, though, to buy players? That's the other charity we should talk about. We are, what's the latest news then, guys? So I'm hearing that Dan Marsh, who obviously is a member of Chat with Chaps, and he did say he would try and come on if he can. He's working tonight at the Mirror. Apparently, Chaps, Flemming is in Burnley. He's working on a permanent move. Is that right?
Yeah, he's just tweeted out, mate, saying that believe it will be a permanent deal if the Twitter Clarets, as he's put in his tweet, can beat the deadline. What we thought with it being a loan with an obligation, it now looks like it's just going to be a straight up perm deal. So that'll be really interesting now to see what the figure's going to be.
So then that changes things because if he's going permanently, what figure do we want right now? Because you've also got the FFP involved and all kind of things like that. Paul, what fee do you think is? Yeah.
Well, like I said, I think 7-8 million minimum. That's the kind of fee we've got to be aiming for. But I'm just worried about who we're going to bring in, mate. That's all I can think about at the minute. I'm a bit worried. It's obviously Rovic, if that is the guy we're going to go for from Watford. I don't feel like that's a step up. Obviously, I suppose I can't pin all my hopes on the vanishing Bulgarian. So that could still happen. We don't know. But yeah.
Did you just say vanishing Bulgarian?
Yes.
You change nationalities now as well.
Well, that's the rumour. He went in Morley's as a Serbian, come out as a Bulgarian, and he's not been seen since. That is an exclusive. Chat with Chaps. 1,000 people, free therapy.
We promised exclusives. So well, I mean, it's all going on. Marlon Romeo has just had his contract terminated at Cardiff. What do you want to say about that? I don't even know. I don't know what to say about that.
Apparently for homophobic abuse towards a police officer who tried to breathalyze him. Apparently. So yeah,
Gets
it's not
what he
ended well.
deserves, then, eh?
Yeah, not ended well, is it, for Marlon? Such promise.
He did have such
Bromley bound, do we think?
Well,
getting the band back together.
That's a nice segue because today Ben Thompson did go back to Bromley, didn't he? He go back to Bromley. Apologies. He signed for Bromley and got the band back together with Byron Webster. I'm sure, Ben, you really did appreciate some of the assets and the creative that they used, right? They sort of
I did, mate. I like that.
Yeah.
Everyone's been on that bandwagon, haven't they? But yeah, no, it was good. I watched a little clip that they put out with him and Byron. So yeah, look, I think we all wish Ben the best down there, and probably a very good addition for Bromley's side as well.
Yes. Right, I'm going to ask viewers, listeners, if hypothetical, Zian Flemming goes, and we just bring in either the Serbian lad or the Bulgarian, as Paul calls it, but we'll go with the fact he's still Serbian, or Rajovic. So one of those two. Are we happy with that business or not? So Flemming goes, and we sign either the 19-year-old Serbian Ivanovic or Rajovic. I think I've got my pronunciation right. Would we be happy with that, or do we want more? I mean, we always want more, but would love to get your thoughts in the chat on that. Yes, Bar. Would you be happy with that?
I would want one more. I reckon. Brada's out. Rumors about Idemo leaving as well. I don't think he will be. I haven't seen anything. Just think we're one short somewhere in the department. So, and can I just say, if we have to choose between Rajovic and this young Serbian, and I don't know anything about the young Serbian, I just hope we sign him, and I just hope that he's been sleeping in the parking lot for the last 24 hours, waiting for Flemming to sign for Burnley, and then he can walk in the building and say, "Right, I'm here, guys. I'm ready." I don't know much about him, but what I've seen is he's just been called up for the national squad of Serbia. You have to have some sort of ability about you to get a call from your national team. This is not the under-21s. This is the A team. It's going to play Denmark and I believe Switzerland next week. Yeah. So fingers crossed.
I echo those sentiments as well regarding what's his name? The geezer from Watford. Can't even say it.
Right.
Yeah, well, you know how we did the Lyndon Dykes piece the other day, and I said I'm not a fan. Yeah, he would be about 10 steps down from Lyndon Dykes.
Oh. That's a bold statement, mate. Well, like we were saying earlier about Dykes. I think by the sounds of it, Birmingham over 3 years, it's a £4.5 million investment on Lyndon Dykes. Absolutely crazy money. So I'm glad the club, whether it was he chose Birmingham over us or the club stepped away, I'm glad because that's crazy money for Lyndon Dykes. Obviously, we have to see if Rajovic is happening, what kind of deal could be done. But George, another player we've been linked with is a young lad from Fulham who plays on the left wing, can play on the right wing, and was on loan at Wigan last season. Tell us a little bit about this chap. And it's gone a bit quiet, so who knows if there's anything in it. But tell us what you know about him, mate.
Yeah, so it was one which, where the rumour broke this morning or sort of early afternoon, where he was linked with him. His name's Martial Godo, or I think that's how you pronounce his name. Martial Godo, on loan from Fulham, it would be. He's originally from Dartford, came through the Dartford Academy, and was sold or bought by Fulham in 2022 and had a relatively successful loan last season on loan at Wigan, where he scored a few goals. I think it was about 4 or 5. And he's also an England under-20 international as well. So he's clearly got a lot of potential, clearly very bright. And I also think he's in a position we still need strengthening. Like, just to follow up what all the other boys said, I still think we're a couple of bodies short. If you look at our squad from last season and our squad currently and what we need, I still think we're a few more bodies short. And especially in those wide areas. I know we've just signed Aziz. But I think this would be a good signing at 21 years of age. It's obviously a loan, so you then look at it, well, we're developing another team's player when we've got our own in Idemo Amaku, but he's already been out on loan, and it looks like he's, in terms of the development ladder, he's slightly ahead of Amaku in that pecking order. So we'll have to see, because there's been no updates for the last couple of hours now, and I see someone put in the chat there that Blackburn were interested, so it's been stalled. But Blackburn have just signed a bloke on loan from Brighton, who I believe is also in the same position. So,
Dubry Kozia, I think his name is. Is that right? Dubry Kozia, something like that.
I believe so. Yeah.
So
if Blackburn can just let him out, just stop being greedy and let him have us, that would be great. But unfortunately, that's not how it works in football. But I say Martial Godo. I don't know what the other boys think, but I think on a long season loan, I think it could be a very shrewd prospect for us.
I mean, George, like, maybe there is an exclusive here for you to reveal that you were trying to tap him up in the flying boat a couple of weeks ago in Dartford. Is that right?
Well, I tell you what, I saw him down the boozer, and I just put my arm around him and I said, "Listen, mate, I've heard you've been linked to Millwall." And he said, "Well, I can't say too much, mate, but I'll have to let you know." And to be honest with you, for some reason, he's not texted me back. Unsure why, but yeah. Listen, Martial Godo, I think would certainly be one. I think would come into the first team. This raises the question, though. However, is this deemed as sort of that panic signing because the club know that Zian Flemming is potentially on his way? Is it seen as a panic signing? I don't know what you boys think.
Trevor's just put that in the chat. Rumour Flemming deal off. We'll look into that one and see if there's anything reading into that. I just can't imagine
doing it to him twice in a row.
Yeah,
the only thing that makes that deal off is if he's failed his medical with him being injured.
Yeah,
that's the only.
True.
That's the only thing. Yeah,
he's there.
Paul apparently tracked him down, Liam Neeson style, on flight trackers.
Yeah.
So he must be there. So it can only be the medical, I assume. I guess there must have been a fee agreed before he travelled up there. But yeah, strange. What I would say, though, on George's comment as well, if we bring Godo in, it will be another loan deal. I don't know what the terms would be, but it's just then we're up to 4 loans again. Personally, I don't like these loans. I can do with 2, maybe 3. Wintle is all right. He's a squad player. He's 27. I can see that working. And also the kid from Liverpool as well. But a player like Godo, I was hoping we could sign permanently. Coburn as well. Because, at the end of the season, we're going to be looking for 4 players again to replace these guys. We're playing catch-up all the time.
Yes, but I've got to just jump in there, right? Because
sorry.
At the end of the season, no. At the end of the season, if you actually look at the amount of players out of contract as well, right? And this goes back to the episode that Ben and I did last week. We're just putting sticky plasters each season as we go. We just fill that gap here. We fill that gap there. I haven't looked, but I would imagine the likes of Honeyman, Watmore, potentially Joe Bryan, Hutchinson, Leonard, Bradshaw. These are all players that on top of any loans will be out of contract. What size of job will we have to do in the summer next year?
It's mental. I mean, we can't keep buying 9, 10, 11 players every window. 4 or 5, yes, but we need to have a foundation. Luckily, I do think that's what we're trying to do. Bringing the player through, like if we get the Serbian, signing up Romain Esse, Massey coming in, signing Daniel Kelly as well, Idemo, Aziz coming in. So it looks like you're trying to create sort of a new foundation going forward, which is so important for us because, as you say, otherwise we're just trying to fix the here and now. And I know it's difficult as a supporter sometimes because this is a transition. We will lose games, we will win games. There will be fans that are so frustrated that we're not performing well. But if we are to survive and if we are to progress as a football club, this is what we need to do. There's no other way around it. It's simple. But it's also about finding the balance between bringing young players through and still keeping our championship existence, because obviously we don't want to go down to League One like Peterborough and become like an elevated scene between the Championship and League One. So there is a clear balance there, but we need to be more business minded.
Absolutely, mate. And yes, what you say there, like, it is just a here and now fix that we keep doing, isn't it? We can't. We don't have windows that we sign sort of 10, 11 players, but you're going to be looking at signing 10 or 11 players on a permanent then, aren't you? Which just isn't going to happen. And then a whole strategy of, well, again, as me and Chris spoke about, what is the strategy there? Because are we going to have enough money to go and buy a lot of those permanently to be building that squad again next year? It's a big ask for the recruitment team and the finances of the club. Just talking of finances again, Paul, I'll bring you in here. Just having a look on Twitter. Do we think so? Burnley obviously reportedly were in for Whittaker, right? And it was supposed to be 12.5 mil. Do we think there's a chance it could be the figure that you're hoping for, mate? Sort of around 10 mil? Or do you think that's hopeful?
I hope so. I mean, yeah, I've seen a bit of the Burnley series, and the guy there is a bit egotistical. So I think he's going to be desperate for a big signing. You can tell he wants to impress, and he's not afraid to put himself in front of the camera. So I think they will push to get him. It's just, I don't know, I just keep saying it. I think it's because it's in my head. I'm getting agitated now because it's now 20 past 10 and there's nothing. So I'm balanced. I'm fine. We've got time. And as the time is ticking through, I'm just thinking, piss off, Millwall. This is going to be, we're going to end up with a big Serb. I've done it again. At least he is Serbian. The Danish guy from Watford. But to me, that's not progressing as a club. No. Obviously, judging if it does happen and it does come, and but nothing will give me more joy than in 40 minutes' time to just think everything I just said is absolute nonsense. As we stand, it is 40 ticking. Minutes left.
Ticking down, mate, isn't it? It's ticking down.
And if we end with this squad, I am very worried.
That was going to be my next question. That was going to be my next question. So just worst case scenario here, right? We lose Flemming. For whatever reason, the Serbian doesn't happen. The Bulgarian doesn't happen. Just being negative Millwall, right? Yeah. What's the thoughts there, George? Bring you in on that. What's the thoughts there in terms of the overall squad? Have we got enough then to be challenging where we probably want to in terms of that upper mid-table spaces? Do we think we've got enough? But certainly in the forward areas of the pitch.
I think the squad's digressed. I don't know about you boys, but I think the squad's digressed from last season, and I think from the season before it's digressed even more. And I think that has to ultimately boil down to the recruitment. And listen, we had a really strong start to the window, and then we had a long period where we didn't sign anyone. And within the last couple of days, weeks, let's just say the last week since we signed Kelly and Aziz, now we're sort of trying to sign everyone. I mean, I don't think the squad is good enough, unfortunately, at the moment of time. I think at the back, centre halves, I think is the one position where I'm most shocked at, where we haven't gone out and tried to look for another defender, considering how poorly we started the season in terms of conceding goals. If one of Tanganga and Cooper gets injured, we could be screwed. Because I wouldn't trust Sean Hutchinson and Murray Wallace to play a substantial amount of games in that position. And it looks like we're trying to get rid of Harding as well. So I think I'm surprised we haven't tried to go in for another centre-half, and then we're about to lose our best player and replace him with the bloke from Watford, which I would just see as just a panic signing. It's just a panic signing for me. He's another 6'3", 6'4" striker, which we don't really need if we're getting Ivanovic. And it's looking very bleak at 20 past 10 in the evening with 40 minutes till the transfer window shuts. It is looking very, very bleak. But no, to answer your question, I'm not happy with the squad, no.
Yes, so we lose Flemming, don't get Ivanovic in. Concerned?
What, me? Yeah, definitely.
Yes,
yeah, definitely. I mean, that leaves us with Coburn and injured. Bradshaw and a Langstaff who hasn't found his feet yet, despite the fact that he hasn't played much. So that is very concerning, to be honest. But I have to reiterate what I just said. I just can't imagine that we'd let Flemming go with not bringing someone else in. That would just be mental, honestly. Yeah. We surely would have someone lined up the same time that he took off in that helicopter. So let's see.
Being positive about it, I can only think that it has to be to do with the finances, right? And we are just waiting for the Flemming deal to be 100% done for us to then know that we've got the money there to pay for Ivanovic. I'm hoping that's got to be the case. But George, you made a really good point there. It's something that Chris and I actually spoke about as well. And Paul, again, I'll just bring you in. Certainly on the centre halves, right? We've pinned a lot of our hopes on Jaffet this year. He hasn't played a lot of football. I know he did obviously for us the back end of last year, but he's been very injury prone, right? So he's not exactly bomb proof. We get an injury to Jaffet or even Coops. We're looking light there, aren't we?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully, touch wood. Coops always seems to turn in week out, doesn't he? Yeah, I don't want to be too down on the players that are there because obviously they've been there a long time, but it's just not acceptable. It's not good enough. We need players and we need them in quickly. I am seeing apparently Al Hamadi is likely to join West Brom as well. So that's another one ticked off. Just please keep being depressed and watching us, by the way. The reason why I started here. And stop typing when I'm talking because I look over there and I forget what I'm talking about. I'm a man. I can't do two things at once.
Well, that's depressing. We woke up this morning feeling so optimistic.
As well.
So optimistic.
We should have known better, shouldn't we, really, Chris? We are Millwall at the end of the day. This sort of transfer window at deadline day doesn't happen for us where we sign like 3 or 4 players. And it's certainly not...
Mate, everyone's got that bit of hope though, right? In your heart, you're just sitting there thinking, but still got half hour.
Well, we have still got half hour, mate.
And they do the deal sheets as well, don't they, as well? So technically, deals can go on longer. They've just got to get the first bit of paperwork signed. But, yeah, honestly.
But can I say one thing? There was a video on... I don't know what social media was it. I think was it yesterday or the day before about Ivanovic being at the Den. That tweet has been deleted now. You can't watch the video anymore. So whether that is the club coming out saying, "Guys, this is not okay. We can't, we can't show this before the deal is actually done," could maybe be sort of saying, "Okay, there might be something underway." That, as Ben says, we're waiting for that final Flemming thing to go through at Burnley, and then we can announce the signing maybe tomorrow with Ivanovic. I really hope that's the case.
I did it. Someone said about work permit. I don't believe that, but there is a rumour that they applied for a work permit for the Serbian striker, but he turned out to be Bulgarian, it says.
I knew that was coming.
Well, I mean, breaking news on the screen, guys, but Joe has it on good authority that Zian's in Burnley. Jesus, where's Joe been? Where's Joe been?
1984.
Get that yellow tie, Joe. Jesus Christ, mate. Oh, well, I mean, chaps, there's not much positive to talk about, is there? Let's be honest. It seems that Flemming's going. It now looks like it's permanent. And with 35 minutes left of the window, other than a player that collectively none of us are particularly over the moon about in Rovic, the Bosnian, I don't know what he is, it just doesn't look very positive, does it, chaps? We should know better. We are Millwall fans. We've been here. We've got the T-shirt over and over and over again. But you just think it's going to change, don't you?
I'm going with another theory as well, mate, is that they're going to announce the sale of Flemming and then they're going to announce the Ivanovic deal is done to soften the blow at the same time. So that's what the club media team are doing. I hope.
Well, let's hope. But we are going to be joined by another guest because we know someone who's a friend of the podcast, and we actually recorded with him earlier this season before the Watford game, that knows Rovic a lot more than we do. So we are going to bring him onto the show. Welcome, good evening, Justin from the Do Not Scratch Your Eyes podcast. How you doing, mate? You good?
Mate, it's 10:30 on a Friday. I've had a few drinks, so this could go horribly wrong. Right. So you text me about 10 minutes ago going about Rovic. This has come out of left field. Okay, so Rovic came to us a while back, and he scores goals. He scores lots and lots of goals, but only if you put it on his head or in his foot in the box. Otherwise, from the centre line to the box, he's no good. But we don't want to lose him. So if you get him, we're going to be pissed off, I tell you. Pissed off.
Right,
What have you heard? What have you heard?
I'll be honest, I've heard absolutely nothing other than the tweet I sent you, mate, which is that Pete O'Rourke, I can never pronounce his name.
Okay.
That he...
You or Derby, right? You or Derby. Is that right?
Us or Derby, and as we speak in, Marcus Harness, who was someone else that we were linked with, had just gone to Derby. We're getting beaten to the post by everyone, guys. What does that say about us? But we'll come on to that in a minute. Whilst we've got Justin here, let's pepper him with questions and annoy him that we could possibly sign.
I've been drinking. Go on.
So, I mean, Justin, Rovic has scored twice against us. In the last sort of 6 months or so. I remember when we recorded, you and your boys from your podcast weren't particularly, complimentary about him, but he's got to have something about him, right? To be in the right place at the right time.
Yes, it's exactly it. He scores goals. I mean, he does score goals, but that is all he does, and that sounds like a really strange thing to say. But he does only score goals. He's got no back to goal play. He's got no passing. He cannot receive a ball on the halfway line and run with it. It's if he's in the box, he'll score a goal. Now he scored 2 against Plymouth on Tuesday. Again, one was on the line almost. The other one was, the other one was a bit trickier to do, but he was in the 6-yard box for both. That's the sort of striker that he is. But Watford fans have always thought, okay, he's not a great player, but he's ours, and we like him. And since the start of the season, it's been okay. We like Rovic, we like him, we really want to keep him. This has come out of nowhere, and like, what? Sorry, someone else wants Rovic. I like him. He's a big, tall, strong centre forward in the box. He'll score your goals. Is that what you need at Millwall?
Yes.
And then you've got the right guy. You know what I mean? You got the right man. But yeah, when does the window close? Please close soon.
The window close. I mean, I haven't had a drink tonight, but I feel like I'm gonna have to because I'm.
I have, and I need more. Go on.
Well, Jesper's. Did I see Jesper drinking some wine? Did I see that?
Yeah, I'm sort of 1 bottle down now. It's 11:30 here now, so I'm 1 hour ahead, and it's Friday. So
well, let me turn things around then. What do you guys know about Rovic?
Not much really, but he had quite a how would you say, like he played in the second best division here in Denmark, scored a lot of goals. Suddenly he was off to Sweden. I think he only played half a season or 1 season there, and then you guys bought him. So he's never played in the best league in Denmark before. But as you say, he's always scored goals, and that's what you will find if you look at Transfermarkt or Wikipedia. He's always scored goals. But I don't know him as a player, really. Only seen him play against us, and he looks like a lanky fella who'll just pop up anywhere in the box.
That's it.
Which he also did against us twice. So
he scored twice in midweek as well, didn't he?
He did, against Plymouth, But they were tap-ins in the box, really. The second one was harder to score, but the first one was on a plate.
See, my main worry with him is from how you describe. He kind of reminds me of Matt Smith, which isn't a bad thing, right? In the box, gets your goals, but then I can see him coming on as a sub. And kind of hitting long balls in, but we need someone. Obviously, we've got Coburn now. I suppose he's going to start a lot of games, but we need people that can start the game. And especially at Millwall, if you're not running the channels when things aren't going well, the fans won't really stick with you for too long. So as an impact player, brilliant.
Yeah, but he is a sub. He's a sub for us. So normally we start with Bio, and then he comes on as a sub. Although during the Carabao Cup, I think we used him as a start. but he is a sub for us normally. We bring him on, right, we need a goal, bring Rovic on. That's what he is.
And you guys have got a Jefferson, right? As well.
Apparently that's happened today. Yeah, Jefferson's happened today. So yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
I'll be
maybe that is
really,
it, mate.
I'll be pissed off if he goes personally. But you know, this is what happens in football, isn't it? It could happen. It could happen. Even at this late hour.
It's weird hearing you say it though, because when you talk about him, it doesn't sound that positive. And then you say you're gutted. You're like, it doesn't really do anything. He comes off his shin, his ass, his head.
Well, look at the goal he scored
really
against
gonna
you
miss him.
guys. Look at the goal he scored against you guys. A header in the box. That's him. That's him. Exactly him. Bring him on. Lump the ball forward. In it goes. Won a game. That's him. That's what he does.
Matt Smith.
Yeah, does sound like a Matt Smith V2.
I mean, if he's third choice forward at Watford, I can understand why he might want to move away. So if we're going to say, look, Jefferson's above you, Bio's above you, he's going to go, okay, so I might not even come on as a sub now. I get that. I understand why he might be upset and he might want to move. But yeah, I mean, this season he's come on, and I think we were hoping this could be his season to be our number 9 and, you know, really kick on. So, oh God, please close the window now.
That also concerns me, though, Justin, having listened to your show with Chris a few weeks ago with you guys saying that you were looking at a long, hard season. And he's your third choice striker. So, yeah, a little bit concerning.
Yeah, hang on. We were looking at a long, hard season, and we've won 5 since then. We've won 5 out of 5 since then. We were looking at relegation, right? So before I spoke to Chris, we were going, oh, my God, we're shit. We've got nothing.
I watched it.
Yeah, so you know, it's difficult because we've won 5 out of 5 since then, but we're facing Sheffield United on on Sunday. So I've been drinking on Sunday. So you know, that could be a really big test. But at the moment, Watford fans are buoyant. We're like, fucking hell, we're doing really well. I think this would go. I just don't think this is going to go down well if we sell him. I really don't.
Do you think
if you carry on winning? By the way, I reckon you might stay with your manager for at
least.
Oh
yeah,
a month.
No, I think I see what you did there. No, I think Cleverley might be long haul. Actually, I think they'd be stupid because I think what we've got with Cleverley is something we've not had in forever, really, which is a manager that knows the club. He's been around Watford for a long time. He was with us in 2009 on loan from United, and he obviously did the other stuff. He came back in 2015, 2016. He's been with us ever since. He's been a captain. He's been the manager of the under-18s. So he's someone that knows Watford really, really well. He understands the club. And from what I've heard, the fact that we're doing well is due to him and the way he's changed the culture. So if you sack Cleverley now, that would be a death knell, I think, at Watford. I think we very much need to nurture him and look after him and say, come on, let's follow Cleverley's lead on this a little bit. So, yeah, I mean, if he doesn't last the season out, God, who's going to replace him? Who's going to come in instead? No one.
I mean, we could say the same about Mr. Harris if he was to go. Well, maybe we'll talk a bit about that in a moment. But one thing that could possibly lead you to wanting to part ways with Rovic is just your style of play. Like Cleverley he's a footballing man. He likes to play proper football, right? And I'm not sure, given let's be positive, the qualities that Rovic has, it necessarily suits a proper footballing side. Does it, Justin?
Like I say, he is a proper, let's bring him on 60 minutes. We need to change things up. Let's spark something. Let's get a goal. And as you saw when we played you at the beginning of the season, we were 2-0 up. You bring us back to 2-2, and Rovic within a minute of you scoring your goals made it 3-2. That's the sort of player he is. He's not a start from the beginning of a game, number 9 centre forward. He's not. He isn't that. But to lose him, you know, it's just like, no, we don't want to lose him. We just want to keep him. He's got no movement whatsoever. He's just not that sort of centre forward. But to lose him, nah, I don't want that. Don't want it. Please, hour and 24 minutes. Just let that go by. Let's keep him. Honestly, we had all this before with João Pedro, by the way. When he was supposed to be going to Newcastle, we went on loads of Newcastle podcasts going, oh, you got a gem there. He's fantastic. He's brilliant. And of course, stayed with us and went to Brighton. So I'm hoping that's what's going to happen here. I really am.
Well, we've got. I feel like both of us are just sort of clutching at straws. You want to keep him because you haven't got anyone else, and we want him because we've got no one else. So it just kind of feels like.
Do you know what the transfer fee is, by the way? What's been mooted?
Literally,
No,
all of
nothing has
this
been said.
is based on one tweet from a fairly reliable source. Usually,
Okay.
that's all of this is based on.
That's how shit it is. We're like grasping at the straws, honestly.
Yeah.
And the tweet was from Chris as well.
Yeah,
Oh, well,
making
yeah,
up our own stuff.
that's a different thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we shall
All
see.
right.
I mean,
we'll know tomorrow, won't we? And then I'll be messaging you, Chris, going, "You got a good one there," or "Hard luck." Do you know what I mean? It's what it is. But yeah, that's come out of nowhere. By the way, that's literally when you messaged me. That's the first I've heard of it. But I can reveal there are. It's a strong rumor. Let's put it that way.
oh really? So you've heard something from your end as well?
No, I can't say, but I've heard that it might be a strong rumor.
Ah,
Strong rumor. That's what I'm going to say.
it's a strong rumor. Oh, give that man another beer.
I was just about to say, that's not the booze talking, is it?
No, that's strong rumor talking. That is, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
He sounds like a good striker.
You like him now, don't you?
Yeah, I'm telling you, I'm strong rumor.
We'll take him. We'll take him at this rate. Listeners, any sort of final questions for Justin? Anything we want to know about strong rumor?
That's it. I'm not saying any more about that. Not a chance.
But anything about his style of play? What foot is he, Justin?
Right, usually.
Right.
If you get a chance to look at the highlights of the match against Plymouth midweek in the EFL, the Carabao, you'll see that's him in a nutshell. The 2 goals he scored are him in a nutshell. And the one that he scored against you as well is him in a nutshell. That's it.
Right.
That's him.
We'll have him. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you for
mate. Thank you for coming on.
my evening.
Sorry. Yeah. No. Thank
Fine.
you for coming on, mate. I mean,
It's a pleasure. It's always, I always like talking to you, Chris. So it's all good. It's all good. So
likewise, mate. Top man. Well, enjoy the rest of your evening, and I'm sure it won't be the last time we speak.
No, we'll catch up soon. Take care, chaps. See ya.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.
Top man is Justin. By the way, like a really, really good podcast. Probably one of my favourite other teams' podcasts. They're such a good bunch. The one that Justin. I've just got to take a little laugh at that. For reasons we will not go into, I just need to take a little laugh at that. But anyway, chaps, we are 20 minutes left. Strong rumour of Rovic. How are we feeling?
Concerned?
I've just texted my missus to roll me a bath, and I'm going to bring the toaster up. So that's me. that's honestly, I can't pretend it. I just think no, this ain't. It's just not it. I did joke. Hey, that's my best mate. That's true.
This is true. I remember you texting me saying, "What about Rovic?" And that was about a month ago.
Yeah, because you asked me if it was anything in it, and I was like, no, I make up random things. True story as well. I put in our little chat yesterday about Flemming, loan obligation to buy. It was absolute nonsense. I said, what if we did something like that? Because I see they'd gone in for Whittaker, and then Richard Cawley come up with it. So apparently I know stuff, apart from nationalities.
Yeah. Get your tie.
Yeah.
All I know is that my laptop refresh button's going to get run out in a minute because I'm just hammering Twitter just for something to come up from somewhere that's good news.
I'm relieved that's what you were doing, Ben.
Yeah. You see the laptop shaking, mate. That is the reason.
That's all you can see. Just
It's the laptop shaking.
We have this guy, by the way, guys, give this man a follow. Dave from Fev's Football Analytics. He's a Bristol City fan, but he's got to be the nicest farmer I've ever met. He's such a top man. I'm joking, Dave, by the way. Absolute top man, Dave. What a great friend of the channel. And like I said, he's going to come on and do a real deep dive into Millwall. He's shared a lot of insights and analysis. And Ben and I recorded a show earlier all about all about the Serbian, and now I'm wondering whether to put it out or not because who knows what's going on. But joking apart, guys, like surely the Serbian's got to be off. It can't be happening. Surely it's 90 minutes to the deadline.
Yeah, I keep looking at that time. I'm getting worried, mate. I'm getting worried. Yeah, something's got to happen, right?
Yeah, well, Harry, there's obviously remaining optimistic. I think the natural way of thinking right now, especially as Millwall fans, is thinking, "Gosh, something's happened. He's failed his medical, or his visa's not gone through." But no, Harry could just be correct. Maybe we are just waiting on Zian Flemming to be sold before we then announce Ivanovic. Who knows? But going back to just to the transfer window in general and how it's been, I think it's been a poor window for Millwall. I think to lose your best player on the last day, to not really get a replacement in. Obviously, right now we're being linked to a few, which I just think is just panic signings. If reliable, I just think they're just panic signings. And I can't. I just think the squad is just not good enough. I just think the squad ultimately. I think we've signed good players. I think Tanganga's have been a coup. I think Jensen can come good, but has made an extremely shaky start to the season. Daniel Kelly's young and is one for the future, and I've only seen 70 minutes of his season. He didn't look great. Obviously, can't judge.
Did he? He did not look great, did he, mate?
He didn't look great. He made a really good turn on the byline first half. He made a really good turn, and then I think that sort of got to his head a little bit, and he was just trying to do too much. But ultimately, I think we can all agree. I think Millwall have had a poor transfer window. I really do. I don't think we've invested for the future. I think we've lost our best player. We've brought back older heads in Sean Hutchinson, who, I mean, this is in my top 5 Millwall moments. That in my top 5, that's proper Millwall moments ever, is releasing club captain Sean Hutchinson and then getting him back again in the same window. I mean,
and then claiming it was a new signing, George.
Signing number 4.
that killed me. That did.
Yeah.
Oh,
anyone got a spare toaster?
Paul's got a few. So we don't have any spare yellow tyres because
you don't need it.
You don't need it. You just don't need it.
What's weather like tomorrow?
Well,
nice.
I'm looking forward to going down the Den tomorrow, but I don't know if I am now.
Well, if we do something, I won't be playing.
But I know George is a little bit pessimistic. It's Friday night. We can't always. We need to try and be a little bit optimistic. And Chris, I'm always optimistic. Maybe I'm also a bit too optimistic. I do think that we, especially in the midfield area, if we do sign Ivanovic, I think we are investing for the future a bit. And it just annoys me a little bit that we only managed to sign Coburn on a loan deal with no option to buy. It sort of pisses me off a little bit because we also are fluffering for another team because this is a marriage bound to end in tears. He could come on leaps and bounds, scoring 15, 18 goals. And as Ben said, his value will go up 5 times. We won't be able to buy him, or Borough will take it back and use him, or he will come on, he will be piss poor. And they would be like, well, why have we loaned him? Now he's taking time from some of our players who's actually on the books here. So, yeah, I'm a little bit annoyed about that. I just hope still that we bring in this Serbian guy and we get Flemming over the line. I think it's just waiting to happen. I've got a gut feeling. And I've got to say, in the midfield area, when you look at Daniel Kelly, Alfie Massey, Assis, Esse, Adam Meyer, 5 players you could potentially have as future assets. I think it's decent. Defensively, I'm worried.
It's pretty old defensively, isn't it? It's pretty old. One thing that Inks Dono's just said here is correct. Richard Corley. Oh, is it?
Yeah, that's all we got. My little family and friends.
But so that's where the 1,500 have come from. Cheers, Paul. But he makes a good point here. Richard Corley has not said go to bed yet, but Derby's version of Richard Corley's has. So therefore, Rovic is not going to Derby. That's something we now know. So does that mean that Rovic is either coming to us or is he staying at Watford? That's something that I'm sure we will find out in a moment. That is
just
that...
on the Rovic one, Chris. Going back to that, so say it's a last minute replacement because we know that the Ivanovic deal is not happening or it's fallen through.
Yeah,
surely that's got to have. That's as last minute as it can get, right? Unless Ivanovic, the club knew wasn't going to happen yesterday, earlier on today, and they've gone out and looked at getting the lad from Watford. So I'm just trying to sort of piece all this together. Surely at some point, again, Cowley would have said that Ivanovic is dead. The fact he hasn't said that, because he would know, right?
Well, yeah.
And the fact that he's made a big thing about it being a record signing. Do you know what I mean? I just feel like if it was dead, surely he would have said something.
But that also wouldn't help you negotiate with other teams, would it? I mean, playing devil's advocate. So if he goes, right, that deal's dead, then suddenly Millwall, everyone knows you're desperate. At the minute, I suppose you might be able to say with that Rovic, I don't know.
Yeah, I suppose.
Again, mate, we don't know, do we? But it's a last minute. It's definitely a last minute job. There's no way this has been planned. Again, it might all turn around and we get the guy that we want, but it's not looking that way.
Let's just sort of break this down, right? We know because a video was leaked, right? Which, by the way, I know we all like to know stuff in advance, but for the club, that's not a good thing, really. It never is from the club's point of view. So we know he was at the Den. So to me, it's black and white. It's either happening, or if it isn't happening, something has broken down, either in his terms, his medical, or his work permit. Right?
I don't think you need a work permit because
there's
like is it EC? I can't think of what it is. ECH or EC? Basically, you can have 4 slots where you don't need a work permit. Yeah, that's a football manager, man, right there. You explain it.
Yeah. Well, exactly what you're saying, Paul. Yes, you get your four non-EU slots, don't you? That you can allocate.
That's it. And as long as they play a percentage of the games in the season, then they're allocated that slot again and get a work permit. So it can't be that. We don't have anyone else that covers any of them slots. Yeah, thank you, mate. So it can only be the other 2, Chris.
So if it's the other 2, it's then medical or something in the terms, right? And either way, if it's the terms, then that's not good from the club's perspective. And if it's the medical, you couldn't write it. You know, we had Nisbet last summer, if you remember, not last summer, sorry, the summer before, where it broke down because of a medical, and then who knows, that could happen again. You couldn't write it, could you? But let's just hope that it isn't any of that, and it's just a case of, as a lot of optimism in the chat is saying, like Stephen here is saying, that we are just waiting for Zian to be announced by Burnley before we do that. Because from our point of view, that would be the right way to do things, wouldn't it? You'd want to hear the negative news first, and then to hear the positive bit to put everyone to bed, if you like. But as Morales pulls out here, it's only 10 minutes left. It's 10 minutes left, and nothing more. I'm gonna say this. I think, based on zero knowledge, I think what will happen is Flemming will go out and Rovic will come in. That's what I think will happen, and we will hear probably in the next 10 minutes.
Just jumping in again, mate. So Burnley put out that they've just signed another forward 7 minutes ago.
He's gone out on loan immediately, hasn't he, to Dundee? That one is. I've seen that, yeah.
Oh, yeah, see that, yeah. Well, George, I didn't read all of it. I just saw they'd signed him. Should read further than the first sentence, shouldn't I?
But can I ask, where do you reckon he will play? Because when you read I read some articles, Burnley related, they see him as a midfielder. And when you look at the striker options, you know, just look at the team. I know a few of them have gone out now. Sakuri, or what's his name was, has just left, and there was another one. They have decent options, very good options as well. Where do you think he will play?
Sorry, I can't say much, but I've just had a message saying that they think it will go through.
What, the Serbian?
Yeah. Just had a message saying that they think it will go through. So, but again, no, don't. Who knows? But I've just had a very random message.
Is that from the Bulgarian?
So if someone's listening, it's from the Bulgarian from Morley's. And he has said he loves the chicken wings. And he can't wait to start. He's happy, loves Millwall, and can't wait to start. So again, that might be a load of bollocks.
Paul, get that tie out, mate. Get that tie out. That deserves a tie. I tell you, who also deserves.
Jim, turn the bath off, babe.
You know what, Paul? I'll tell you someone else who deserves a bit of credit, right? And as I've got 1,600 people listening, I'm going to give her a shout out. Mrs. Chat with Chaps. She deserves some bloody credit because she has lost her husband for the last 6-7 weeks whilst we've been doing this. I've not spoken to the poor girl in about 6 weeks. So just if you're listening, love, you're probably not. You're probably snoring away. But thank you for your patience. Millwall thanks you for your patience. 1,610 people thank you for your patience as we look to hopefully announce Serbians, Bosnians, whatever, before we go to bed. Jesper, I think everyone wants to know what you're now drinking. That's what people want to know.
A beer. It's almost midnight. It's Friday. Having floors done. I can only stay in my living room. So, yeah, I've actually got the fridge right next to me. It could be actually better right now. So, yeah, just a beer. A bottle of red wine before.
Good man. Love it. Well, I hope the floor gets done very, very soon. And Craig, you are absolutely right. She knew what she was signing up for when she married me a year ago. Bloody hell. Yeah, it's been a year. I think we should carry on, chaps. We've still got 1,600 people watching. I keep thinking it's wrong because I just can't imagine that many people want to listen to us five wallies, but they do. So thank you. And just to plug again, please, if you haven't, subscribe because every penny is going to Cancer Research UK this season. So please subscribe. You know it's going to a good place, and it's a charity that is near and dear to a lot of listeners' hearts because I've had messages about it, and it's certainly near and dear to my heart for various reasons. So thank you very much for that. Much appreciated. Right. Quick time check. 10 minutes to go. Race against deadline. Will Burnley do it? I've just seen that chat. Craig, a friend of the channel, my newlywed wife back in 2017 had to sit through the playoff final on a honeymoon in Greece.
That's where oh, no, I was in Mexico at the time. I was going to say, I could have had a beer.
Oh, cracking. Right, I'm just trying to see if we can get Danny Marsh.
I have to say, Paul, that is beautiful. What you're sending there.
It's not a picture.
I know.
I haven't got my top off. It's not what me and Jesper are into in our own time. Please.
Well, can I just say, if we sign Ivanovic, and I know Ben is as well, I'm a huge football manager, fan, and this has got football manager written all over it. It's one of them you scout, where you're like, I just found this hidden gem somewhere in Serbia, Vojvodina. He's come over, he's got 50 goals in his first season. But for me, it also shows ambition in terms of looking outside the UK border, that we're actually trying to scout some players in different countries and talents. And I know it's going to be a record signing fee, but there's other players out there, decent value. Flemming is one of them. I still think Casper Denor is a good signing as well. Vogie, had a difficult time as well, was shoehorned in on the right. He's a striker. But it just goes to show that if we just look a little bit outside, Belgium, Holland, Germany, there's so much talent to be found because, as you mentioned, Chris, we look in the black book. We have these three options: your Dykes, your who are we looking at as well? Your Kiefer Morse, your Josh Coburn, and then you're out of options. It's really important that we do this. And if we do sign him, a big if, I just hope that he'll turn out and be good value for money.
Richard Corley has just tweeted, Zian Flemming is Burnley bound, what I've heard more than once tonight. So would be a surprise now if it doesn't happen. Millwall attacker wants the move as well, which I have heard through a few different sources that he wanted this move. So I don't think we can necessarily look at the club and blame lack of ambition. If a player wants to go, they want to go. All eyes on what happens in terms of incoming activity. I wonder if there's a world where we sign both the Serbian lad and Rovic.
5 minutes ago, we weren't signing anyone. We had the toasters out. Now we're signing both of them.
A front three or a front four. Imagine a front four, guys, of,
The Bulgarian.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he'd be a good sub, but that's what I mean. With the Rovic, I don't want to be too down on him because, again, if he's done well against us, if people are defending deep against us, it'd be brilliant coming on as a sub, and we could ping the balls in like Matt Smith, get the knocks downs, and Langstaff can run onto it, whatever. But just if that's your focal point, starting games, I just can't see that working.
Very interesting. Sorry, just to butt in. Sorry, very, very interesting that P.O. is it Rucker? I don't know how you say his surname, but he obviously tweeted earlier, and he's just tweeted that Millwall's Zian Flemming is finished. His paperwork is sealed to move to Burnley, and underneath it, he's also just tweeted that Flemming has beaten the deadline to sign initially on loan with an obligation. So that now throws sort of the spanner in the works. Is it a loan, or is it with an obligation to buy, or is it a full-on permanent fee?
And why does it keep changing as well? That's another thing. That's interesting. Why does it keep changing? That's odd, isn't it?
Just going back to Corley's tweet.
Oh, sorry, Ben.
Sorry, yes, just going back to Corley's tweet as well. Am I looking into this? But the fact he said incomings as well, plural there.
Yeah.
Did he say
incoming?
No, he just said incoming activity. No.
I'm really not reading stuff, am I, George? Yeah, I'm just gonna go to bed in a minute.
How many beers do you had, mate? How many beers?
Only 2 tonight. Yeah.
Right. I think we're gonna get. I mean, it's 1 minute to 11, so I think we're about to get some news.
Yeah, the Ipswich lad that was on as well, he won't be happy. Looks like Brozier deal's dead, according to Fabrizio Romano.
Yeah, and Reece Nelson's going to Fulham. Does that open the door for the lad to come to us? Who knows? God, maybe it is exciting.
Tyler Roberts, who's obviously at Leeds, or was at Leeds, sorry, has just signed for Northampton on loan from Birmingham.
God, that's a big downfall, isn't it?
Yeah, I was about to say that.
He was rated really highly, wasn't he?
And I saw your player as well, Chris. Josh Bowler went on another loan move to, who was that? I saw earlier.
My player? Who's that?
No, I think you said you rated Josh Bowler. He just went on another loan to.
I do really rate him.
Yeah, I just can't remember which club he went to. Definitely
Preston.
Another loan. Preston, yeah. Which also says to me that, he had a good season at Blackpool, or maybe 2 seasons, but maybe dropped a bit. I don't know. Seems to be out on loan a lot, Cardiff, and didn't really make it at Forest, and now back at Preston. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm for those of you listening, I've got a very special guest potentially lined up. So that's why I'm going on quiet, because we're waiting for an announcement, and then I could have quite a special guest coming to join us. So bear with us. Talk amongst yourselves. No, I'm only kidding. But I'm just trying to get
them involved. What do they think? Do they think anything's coming? Anyone coming? Anyone different? Amako, does he leave?
I think the chat has been quite positive tonight, actually, I have to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, weird. Just going back to Amako as well, Paul. Yeah, weird one, that, and that. It seemed like he was obviously staying, then he obviously had the performance Tuesday, which there was strong rumours about him going to Wickham, wasn't there?
Yeah, keeping local. See, it's a weird one with him because I want to see him play, but if he's not going to play, then I'd rather he did go on loan and we got someone else in, because that's the only way he's going to improve. He was playing part-time at Shamrock, so I think he does need to be playing 60, 90 minutes a week, and getting 30 minutes every other week probably isn't enough for his development and his age. So if he can go out, and I know we're loaning in someone else's 21-year-old, but they're there to be backup probably, aren't they? So as long as he's on par, hopefully Mako comes back a better player. Again, if it happens.
But I have a question for you guys. So we have Langstaff, we got Bradders, Josh Coburn. Do you think maybe potentially Harris could see Idema playing up front as well? You got Coburn in as a bit of a target man. Idema next to him, he's got such pace about him that maybe you could think, okay, maybe you could tinkle a little bit about where Idema should play.
I've always thought his best position is down the middle, to be honest. Yes. So yeah, I would like to see him down there, but with the incomings that we've had, obviously potentially with another one with Ivanovic, I mean that's just not going to happen now, is it?
No, maybe not.
I said that to Chris before. The thing I struggle with is when we talk about stuff as well, I don't even think about it from my point of view. I'm more thinking about it from what's going to happen, like Harris's point of view. I just can't see him doing it. But yeah, it is interesting. I do think he could end up there, 100%.
I remember a game last year, Preston away, and he was nearly unplayable down the middle for the first half. He absolutely tore him to shreds. And I thought this could be his sort of coming out moment, if you want. But he just never, for me, he hasn't seemed to like, I know he's a young lad, I get that, but he hasn't really kicked on, has he? And I say that from every time he started perspective. Like against Watford, again, he was brilliant when he come on, literally changed the game. It was so effective. But every time he started, I think it was at the Sheffield United game last year where he started at home, and he had an absolute nightmare in that as well. And I think again it had come off the back of not Sheffield United last year, someone at home we played. And I seem to he started and he had an absolute nightmare, and it was off the back of him again coming off the bench. He just doesn't seem to be able to string a 90-minute performance together, does he?
He is raw, isn't he? Sorry, Mitch. He is raw, isn't he? He is very raw, Adamo Maku, and I think that somewhat favours him a little bit. That he is quite raw. So if he does have the odd bad performance or odd stinker, the fan base sort of let him off a little bit. I'm personally happy that he's stayed around and we've not loaned him out, because listen, on one sort of aspect you can look at it and go, well, if we loan him out, that gives him the opportunity to play regular minutes where he can develop. But arguably on the flip side, I still think he could do a job for us now. I think a lot of us were calling for him to start the first game. Then he came off the bench to Watford, and like we said, did really well. But so he is raw. He is one for the future. But I'm not sure if you boys agree. I'm glad that we've not loaned him out.
Yeah, not yet, anyway.
Not yet. Not yet.
Yeah.
The other thing as well, I'm sure loans they can happen after the window.
No.
No, not anymore. I think we changed that.
No.
Maybe it's an age thing then, because I believe that
to the National League.
Right. That's what I was thinking.
You can loan to the National League, but not after the deadline. I just think with Amaka, though, you need to give him the ball in the right areas. It's like when Esse against Watford, it's all relative. So against Amaka, did have a stinker the other night. But if you give him the ball one-on-one against the right back, even if he gets bits wrong, he's going to cause havoc. If you're asking him to get the ball with his back to goal and he's got to turn and he's got to try and find space, he's not at that stage. He might not ever get to that stage. We need to help him. He's only young.
We do.
There we land.
We are just waiting for some news before bringing on a potential next guest as well. So where are we now? It's 6 minutes past. Just because we haven't heard anything doesn't mean things haven't happened. I think we know that, right? It can happen after. You also have the 30-minute window if you've got your paperwork there, and you can continue to make things happen. So
I think that's even longer now as well, Chris, isn't it? Yeah. As long as the paperwork's in, I think so, yeah. As long as the paperwork's in.
You need to make sure your fax line's working.
Imagine that back in the day.
I remember that. George might not remember that. I remember when I started as a trainee in 2008, my first task in the morning was to empty the fax machine to see if there was any purchase orders coming in.
George, you sat there going, what the fuck's a fax machine?
We have such a diverse age group here at the Chat with Chaps podcast. Harvey, please do not tempt it, mate.
Oh, could you imagine?
Can you imagine? Don't worry, lads. We'll be relegated before then, so it's fine. No, listen. When we've got our new strike force of Rajovic, Ivanovic, and Coburn, and we're just going to pump balls up to all three. Coburnovic, we're going to be top 6. Here we come. Sure, mate. Do you know what, Paul? I can tell who your mates with because they have a very similar sense of humour to you.
Oh, we're all knobs. We're all piss takers. It's just
that actually wouldn't surprise me either if that was still how we were conducting our business.
Right, guys. I think what we can share with you is we know we have a signing. I think we can share that. We're not going to say who, but bear with us. But we know we have one signing, and we're just waiting for announcement.
Bogey,
the return.
Turn of Bogey.
We are being respectful to the club as we always are, making sure that they announce it before we do and before we potentially bring on a guest. So
just to plug some time then, Chris. This is the most baffling. We've spoken about Birmingham, right, and the amount of money they're spending in League One. How the fuck are Chelsea doing what they're doing? They've just signed Sancho. But what's going on?
Have they?
Yeah, loan with an obligation to buy 25 million.
And Sterling's gone to Arsenal, hasn't he?
Yeah, but I'm just so confused. That FFP seems to be being banned about everywhere, right? But they're just, I know they're doing it via the long-term contracts, all that sort of thing. But
mate, I'd give up.
No, yeah, I'm off the ledge then if it's him.
Sorry, Ben, you were trying to have a really good, serious conversation.
I was just trying to plug some time, mate. But I think they're better to go into. What is that? Where is Bodvarsson now? Is he still at Bolton, or did they realise he was shit down there as well?
I think he is. I think he's still on the books.
He started all right there, didn't he, Bodvarsson? Yeah. I'm sure he started.
I'll never forget that miss at Sheffield Wednesday. Do you remember when he went for on goal? The 93rd minute.
That ended his Millwall career, didn't it? Literally.
Yeah, there. And he punted it fucking straight over the stand.
We've signed some good strikers over the years, haven't we?
Oh, God. Who's the word? I mean, Baz Savage, Mark McCammon.
Gary Taylor-Fletcher.
Gary Taylor-Fletcher.
Literally, he for me should be a dart player. I don't know how he ended up in football, but I mean, honestly, you look at the stature. I mean, he's not a footballer. He's not. Yeah, he played for Leicester.
Guys, put in the chat your who's the best Millwall striker ever? Wrong answers only. Let's go with that. Best Millwall striker ever. Wrong answers. Oh, there's some classics, guys. Rob Hulse. Gary Taylor-Fletcher, Patrick Agimang.
Forgot about him.
Paul Wilkinson. I remember seeing him. It was the first year I was going down the Den, and he was that bad. He came on as a sub, and they subbed him off again. He was right. The Hofmeister.
Meister.
I actually quite liked him. I know he wasn't great, but I quite liked him. Another classic, Gifton Noel Williams.
Fucking hell, I forgot about it.
Jesus Christ. Vincent Pericard.
Yeah, we've had so many journeymen down the Den. It's unbelievable.
Bruce Murray. The Russian one. Was it Vasily Kulkov or Sergei
Sergei
Yuran?
Yuran.
You're in.
There he is. Bas- Guys, I think this one's about to top it all. Kevin.
Oh.
I tweeted saying it could be the worst transfer in our history. Now, is there an argument for anyone else? Just given what happened last year with him, the injuries, the fee, like everything being considered. Anyone else to throw in the hat for that?
I think this guy I'm about to put on screen is because at the time I think we paid $500,000 for him, which at the time was a lot of money.
Who?
God, that was back in the day. That's an old one.
But at $500,000 in '94, bloody lot of money. But recent, mate, I think it's a really good shout. But he's got to be up there, and also this fella as well. Where is he?
Renee.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Jesus.
Just when you thought we couldn't depress the viewers anymore.
To be fair, they're depressing themselves.
You were wrong. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. What a scouting network.
All right. I think we're just waiting for something here. But can you maybe tell me something? Because when I started following Millwall, and the first Championship Manager game I ever played had all the stars: Stephen Reed, Paul Ifield, Timmy Cahill, Moody, Sadlier, you name it. You remember Byron Bubb, who was also in that team? Yeah. Do you know, was he any good? Because he was really good in Championship Manager.
I don't think he had much of a career after us, did he? I can't remember. When did you start supporting Millwall, Jesper? Was that
99, right, just around the millennium.
99. Yeah.
Oh, what's this? There's Rich. Zian Flemming is done. And the loan move for Amaku and Fulham's Martial Godo is not happening.
Oh, that's a cheery tweet.
So they were looking to do a straight swap then with the Fulham guy. I mean, not with Fulham, but they wanted to bring Amaku out and then Godo in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, let's just get behind Amaku then, eh? Like you said earlier, mate, hopefully he can come good.
I think he will. He's got a lot of talent, we were saying.
Yeah, that's what I mean. No one wanted him to leave. I think it's more for his sake. Harris said that in the after the game. He said he'll do the best thing for Adamo.
Yeah. Okay.
With our injury history, we know that he will probably play soon, so it's a good thing he stays.
Regarding the Flemming one, it's obviously Richard Cowley has also just confirmed it is a loan with an obligation to buy. Obviously, it's not really disclosed how much we're actually getting for him. Obviously, it will be a loan, but he's off. He is off. Then it looks like, and still no Richard Cowley tweet regarding an incoming.
No,
he hasn't told us to go to bed though, has he? So
no.
Well, we're just waiting for an announcement. It's frustrating because I have this guest literally waiting, but out of respect, we're not gonna do that just yet. This is a really good point. We never replaced Jimmy Abdu. I love Jimmy Abdu. What a guy as well.
And if you haven't, I'm sure everyone has here, but if you haven't listened to the Wall Talk episode of him on this, a very, very good listen.
Yeah.
Fun fact about Jimmy Abdu, when I was a kid, right? So you know the McDonald's on the end of like Cameron Road in Downham. So back when they used to do McDonald's kids parties, I must have been, it shows my age here because everyone was probably like a fully grown man and I was a kid when Jimmy Abdu was playing for Millwall. But I remember it was a kid's party. I was a kid, I was at my mate's party in McDonald's and Jimmy Abdu was there with his son and he took pictures with all of us and like signed autographs with all of us. So that was quite cool. McDonald's in Cameron Road. Lovely fella.
Quiet fella, by the sounds of it. We
always remember that goal at Ellen Road.
Yes. What a What a there you go. That's what you're talking about there, Jesper.
There he was.
Come on, Millwall. Make the announcement, please. Do you remember Alex Ray? I do remember Alex Ray. I'm just old enough. Believe it or not, I'm only just old enough to remember Alex Ray. It's I've had a tough paper round. But yes, great player. One of the most complete midfielders that I think I've seen at the club, Alex Ray. I think he was excellent.
I remember I went with my dad up to, it was a Wolves on a Wednesday night, and he scored against us. Yeah, last minute winner, killer. Being an obviously loved him as well before.
Was that the cup?
I think it was a league game. I just remember 1-0 last minute. Yeah.
Yeah, I just remember having that on VHS. George, that's the one before DVD. So I have it somewhere in the basement. The first video I got, yeah.
I used to. Do you remember when the videos used to come out? Like at the end of the season, it was all the goals. I say all the goals. They used to last about 6 minutes, but it was the previous season highlight. I used to absolutely love
it.
George is like, what is a VHS? He probably wouldn't even have a clue what that is. But yeah, during the war, that's what we used to watch, mate. Harvey's just letting us know where he's at. Yeah, okay, mate. You know, well, some of us have been around the block, unfortunately. Quick question from Craig. Who scored the first Millwall goal you saw in person? Oof.
Yeah, it's a good question. I remember the first game I went to, where we lost. But the first goal scored. Wow.
So here's an interesting story for you. Kill a bit of time. I don't know who scored the goal, but my dad, should I say allegedly, or should I be? He got Bruce Rioch sacked. So yeah, so we knew a Millwall footballer, best mates with Millwall footballer, and he used to tell him obviously all the stuff that's going on. So back in the good old days, my dad wrote him a letter to Reg Burr, and Reg Burr invited him into his office, went through obviously what he thought and what he'd been told. I won't say names. And 2 weeks later, Bruce Rioch was sacked, and I was a mascot for Mick McCarthy's first game in charge, which was a 1-0 win against Port Vale at the Old Dem. But don't ask me who scored. I was too young, so I can't remember it. Yes, but Big Mick, yeah, he's a top bloke.
Yeah, he's it must be really nice for you, Paul, as well, to have like your boy be a mascot or he was ball boy the other day, wasn't he? The other day, yeah, that's what I was getting at. Like, it must be such a good thing. It really must.
I love it. He's his sister as well. She's playing football now. She's quite good, and she's just got a season ticket now. So now I've got them both down there, and my boy's actually in a program tomorrow from the training day I took him to. So he don't even know that yet, but he loves all stuff like that. So yeah.
I've heard a rumor as well, mate, especially from some footage that you've shared in the group chat, that she's better than you.
Yeah, that's not hard. She's more aggressive than me in a tackle. I tell you that. She's got a mother's anger. She can't hear me, so I can say, "Oh, I'm shaming."
Yeah, I think my missus is snoring. Guys, we haven't had to go to bed, but what I don't want to do is go on all night and then the announcement doesn't happen. So we'll give it a little bit longer because we've got 2,000 people listening to us right now. Surely not. It's got to be broken now. I'm going to screenshot that. Someone that is going. Oh, am I getting an echo? Thank you, Dave. Thanks for coming on, mate. Anyone else getting an echo from me?
Yes.
It's gone now. Again.
Any better?
Yeah.
Very, very odd. Here's something that has just been announced. Stansfield to Brum.
No way.
Million.
Yeah.
Mental. Come on, Millwall.
Yeah, we're getting some echoes now, aren't we? Is that a sign to give up?
Dan's just tweeted as well, just on the Flemming deal. Was told the deal was going to be a perm rather than a loan with an obligation, which was the initial plan as seen earlier in the day, but looks like the latter is what pushed the deal through.
God, that's a mouthful, isn't it?
Just pinging Dan to see if he can join us and give us a little bit of a lowdown on the deal.
I cannot believe that Birmingham
wow.
have spent that in League One.
So one of these, I think it was a Japanese guy from Birmingham who played on the right side, went to Bochum in Germany. I thought they looked quite decent when they visited us last season, these two. They had one in the centre and one on the right, looked quite lively, aggressive as well. 27, maybe could have done a job. I don't know.
Is that Miosi?
Yeah.
Miosi, yeah, exactly, him. And then you had, I think the other one was Park, or who was in the centre?
Pike,
yeah.
News of Den. I've just
it's coming back everywhere now.
it's bad.
Yeah.
News at Den have just put out about the Flemming deal. It's the first sort of link close to the club, I guess. So imagine the club announcement will be very soon.
I've got a tweet here from Frankie Christo, which is interesting. Millwall have not sold a player for profit since George Saville in 2019. This is the first player we've actually made any money on since.
Have we though? If it's a loan,
Yeah, he's gone, and it's just
with an obligation, basically.
Yeah.
Saying it.
So can you make two sorts of deal? Can you make like a loan with an option to buy, and then, or a loan with an obligation to buy?
Exactly that, mate. So you can have a loan where. Well, can you hear me back now?
yeah, I don't know what's going on.
Is that any better?
Has anyone got like the stream up on their phone or something like that,
No.
like watching it on Twitter? And I'm just trying to think of why there could be an echo.
I think it's
just
better
changed
now.
my
Mate.
headphones because they were running out of battery. I just try and put them in now, but I didn't have any battery. Just give me a second.
Yeah, hello?
Yep, we're all here. We're
Good.
all here.
Back in the room. Yeah, you can have like a loan with obligation where you have to buy them no matter what. Obviously, loan with an option. You can have loans with if they play so many games, it becomes a permanent. So there's so many different things, and it's just a way of managing the money. It's like you say, even with the Chelsea thing, it's not like they've technically loaned Sancho. He's their player now. It's just that they've got to wait a year till the financial fair play rules mean that it makes sense for them.
Yeah,
I'm not worried about that side.
It's a logical way to structure a deal, and if we end up getting more money as a consequence of it, then happy days, right?
Yeah, and if we sign someone, it's only going to be over. Say we sign someone for $2 million on a 4-year deal. We're only paying 500,000 for the first year, 500 for the second year, and so on. So if you loan someone and you got 500 grand for the first year, it just covers it. So just moving money around, really. Just trying to send everyone to sleep with boring financials.
I do believe the announcement is going to come very, very soon. Very, very soon. Let's see. And it looks like Burnley have announced officially now about Zian.
Yeah, there's the helicopter.
They're pretty creative, but it's just not one I wanted to see.
Oh, look, a message from Tom Wagner as well. Fucking. Come on, Millwall.
Come on, give us the news. Give us the news, and then hopefully give us the positive news from our end.
Jesus Christ.
Well, what do you guys think about tomorrow, result-wise? Then, what are we going for?
There's a sorry, mate, to interrupt. Just got so Sam Dean from the Daily Telegraph, right? He said Birmingham City have agreed an extraordinary fee with Fulham. It's 15 million plus 5 million add-ons, 20% sell-on, 100k bonus. They're promoted. Surely that can't be right. Oh yeah, Matt Dawson saying it as well. 71,000 followers. So and he works for them. So it's got to be legit. That's crazy. He's not that good.
Are we sure? Are we sure Todd Bowley knows how the FFP works? Or just throwing around money?
Don't. But yeah, so what's the team for tomorrow? What would you guys do?
I don't know if we would. Would you start Coburn or not?
He's 100% starting, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I tell you who because people are saying about Honeyman not being in the camp, but I think tomorrow he could be our most important player. I think he's going to have to just sit on Barry Bannon. If he chases him round and keeps him out of the game, he always seems to pull the strings against us. So hopefully if he can keep him quiet, I can see us winning.
Yeah, Barry Bannon always does well against. As does bloody Jamal Lowe.
Yeah.
This is a good point.
Yeah.
Mate, his free kicks, they were even better in the warm-ups, weren't they? He would be practicing them and they'd just be P-rollers into the back of the net as well.
Yeah. It's still funny when they took the towels away at Huddersfield. He was doing his long throws. It just went missing.
Hilarious.
I'm being told by Mr. Dan Marsh to keep going because there could be stuff. So we will.
Stuff or just one thing, Chris?
He just said stuff. So
I'm clutching at some straws here.
I know, mate, I know. We're reading into like subtle nuances.
Everything. Yeah.
And stuff.
Is he coming on, Dan?
Can you remember? Oh, sorry, Ben. Can you remember the last time we had a deadline day like this? I can't. Usually we sign off with some weird loan signing that no one's ever heard of. I mean, this has got to be the most interesting window, like when we speak of deadline day. I mean, as a Millwall fan, that I can remember.
Well, you'd always remember that standard tweet that everyone would put out at 9 o'clock. Transfer deadline day, or also known as by Millwall fans a Friday, because nothing ever happens for us. But it's actually been quite an exciting one, at least, isn't it?
Yes.
Sorry, I just saw this. I don't think she's ever done that in my relationship with her, Craig. I think she's quite happy if I don't come to bed. No, I thought whenever I get a notification, I automatically think something's going on, but not yet. Any news on
It's just me talking here, but am I right saying that we have never had a Brazilian player playing for Millwall?
One.
Really?
Did he play a game? I think he played. The one he actually played for Brazil as well.
Back.
Yeah, he was like a centre-half left back. I don't know if he ever played for us. I know we definitely had him at some point. I've got a feeling he played a game.
Really?
What was his name?
Stop the clock. They're all right. Their things are crazy, aren't they? Their intros.
There he is. Adam White.
Man.
There you go, mate. What a guy. That is exactly who we're talking about.
See ya.
On loan from Arsenal. That is correct. That is very correct.
What? Surely not the guy who went on to play for Roma and Leverkusen, or was it? No. Oh no, that's not him. No.
Yeah, guys, Millwall have just officially tweeted. I'll read it out. Millwall Football Club can confirm the departure of Zian Flemming to Burnley on loan for 24-25 campaign with an obligation to buy at the end of the season. The club reluctantly accepted a substantial bid for Zian as he wishes to embark on a new challenge with the Clarets. To me, That says it all. He wanted to go. And we said this earlier. So if he wanted to go, the club have done what they can. It's interesting that both times he's been linked with going, it's been with Burnley. So was there ever anyone else that was interested? We'll never know. But it is what it is. And hopefully we've just got the right amount of money for him, which we will see.
He'll be back soon when he realises what Burnley's like.
But listen, this is another thing you have to remember sometimes. When sometimes you got to strike while the iron is hot, right? Last season, I think people might have thought we lost out on an opportunity to sell Flemming. If we can get around 8-10 millions, I think we spoke about this in July. I think, Chris, you mentioned around 3-4. There was even 2-3 mentioned. If we get 8-10 now, this is still a very, very good deal for us. And as you say, Ben, no guarantee this is going to work out for Flemming at Burnley. It's not that I don't wish him the best, but he could be back again, just like Saville. We bought him back on the cheap from Borough. We sold him for 8. I don't know how much we paid for him, but we didn't pay 8 for him, bringing him back.
500k, wasn't it?
Yeah, and that's what you got to remember sometimes, that you can sell him, keep an eye on them, see how it goes, and then you can bring him back sometimes on the cheap. That's another way to do good business as well, because you will know the player. He might have the right age, but sometimes you can just get too sentimental. You don't want to lose your best players. But if you get 10, 12 million, you could reinvest that into at least 3 or 4 players, decent players.
Big Serbian, someone like that.
Maybe. Bulgarian.
I know we mentioned it earlier, but now Zian Flemming's gone, which, by the way, the club mentioned it was for a substantial bid. They've accepted. Sorry, we'll have to find out rather sooner rather than later how much that potentially might be. But now Flemming has gone, it does pave the way for Mr. Romain Esse to take the spotlight as our star boy and hopefully drag us up the table, getting important goals, important assists, before we eventually sell him as well, because that will more than likely happen as well. But we won't talk about the future. We'll talk about now, and I think it's Romain Esse is in that number 10 position now. Yeah, time to fry.
Fee.
We've just had Richard Cooley say no fee disclosed for Zian Flemming, but Burnley paying 7 million plus for Millwall number 10. Had been mentioned to me at the end of last season. The Amsterdam attacker was set to move after missing out on Premier League move with the Clarets when they were promoted under Vincent Kompany. So there you have it, 7 million plus.
I mean, for me, I'm happy with that.
Yeah, because here's the scenario. Burnley, for me, I've got them to win the league, and I think they will because they've got such a good squad. No guarantees. But if they go up, they will go out and reinvest. Where does that leave Flemming next season? That's one of the questions where you can argue, like, is he going to play? I'm not saying that he's automatically going back to us, but there's an opportunity there. If you stop buying bigger players and he's being forced out, he's not going to play. But I wish him all the best. I think he's done fantastically. I think his first season was phenomenal. He's a very good player, and if that's the fee we're talking about, I think everyone should be happy, honestly.
Yeah, I think we should be, and that's what to your point, we can't get too attached to these players. This is what we need to do, and now we need to say thank you very much. And we've clearly invested in Romain with the new contract. I don't know what it was in terms of per week, but I can imagine it's a substantial step up in order to show our faith in him. And we now need to put him front and centre, to George's point earlier. Do you play him in the 10 tomorrow, Romain? Do you play him in the 10? No. You play Honeyman in the 10?
Just because we've got Barry, again, it's the Harris thing. I can't get it out of my head what I think he'll do, but I know we're at home, but Barry Bannon just controls games, and I just think Honeyman will be there to disrupt him.
Oh, mate, I've got to read this out. A quote from Flemming. It's surreal to be here. It's happened really quickly. I heard about it first yesterday morning, and I just wanted to get here. I want to be a Premier League player in a Premier League team, and with the aims and ambitions we have here at the club, we can make it possible. Well, Zian, thank you very much. Thanks for the 7 million. Good riddance. Claret and blue suits you anyway, you wallet.
Listen, it's all just PR, isn't it? Zian Flemming was never going to come out in his interview and go, well, the move came around. Listen, I'm getting paid more money, more better chance, etc. It's all PR, isn't it? Obviously, from his point of view, when he comes out and he says he has ambitions to be a Premier League player with a Premier League team, and that's totally fair enough. You just have to respect that. But yeah, listen,
he's a good championship
time to
player,
move on.
He's a good championship player, in my opinion. I don't think he's got the pace to be a Premier League player. He's got a lot of ability. But yeah, who cares now?
Yeah, I think that's the key thing for him. I think he does lack pace, certainly for the Premier League.
I can see through the tweets that some fans have already moved on, so that's brilliant. So let's hope we get another one in through the door.
Yeah, I think 7 million is good. That's what we need to be doing. We have to be doing this. There's nothing wrong with that.
Pick up a striker for 2-3 million if we can, and then invest the rest as we see going forward. Pick up another couple of youngsters.
Exactly. It's what you need to do. And, it's not easy to do these sort of things. There's only 2 clubs, and I read about it today. It's only Brighton and Brentford who's done this fantastically, and they keep doing it. They find these, I don't know, Brighton, they keep finding these players in the Amazon somewhere and bring them through for 1 million, sell them for 40. It's unbelievable. Brentford, very strict in their recruitment, went from League One to the Premier League in 4 years. Absolutely fantastic. Because they just had a concept that this is what we do. It's going to take a bit of time, but they just kept doing it. And it's not easy because we see how many managers are fired during the season in the Championship because they want results here and now. I don't think this guy from Hull, he's going to last the full season. I'm going to put 100 quid out there now. There's going to be other managers sacked by December as well. It's just so difficult. You need to be patient. And you need to be building a really solid foundation. But as a fan, you also want to see your team win games. So it's really difficult.
What did we sign Flemming for? 1.4, was it?
It's not more than 2, I think.
Yeah, it's about 1.7 rising to 2. But there's no sell on either, is there? Which is good. That was bought out last summer, apparently.
Yeah. So it was 2 mil.
Yeah.
I mean,
2 years service.
250% increase. So that's very, very good business.
And imagine if you have a really good recruitment team who can then reinvest that into 3 Flemings, or you have to be so proactive all the time. You need to be saying, all right, this guy could be good. So if he goes in a year, who could we then bring in? You can't afford to be constantly, as we've been doing for so many years, plastering or say, oh yeah, okay, now we're down 10 men. We need to buy one here, buy one there. Constantly being on the front foot. And it's difficult. I know that. But if you get it right, there's so much good business to be done out there, honestly.
Question is, how often do we get it right? That's more my concern. I don't mind
changing a culture, I think, sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, even though it's difficult and it's hard to look at sometimes, but otherwise we're just going backwards. And then it's League One, and then what happens?
We've got a few people agreeing with you here, Jesper.
Yeah, Steve's my good mate.
Surely not. Stansfield deal, apparently a 7-year contract. Nah.
Now they are going full on Chelsea, aren't they?
But is this a new FFP thing that you can, the longer the contract is, the more you can sort of spread your costs across the years or something? Yeah, it's bollocks, isn't it? Honestly.
Announced Ivanovic on a 9-year deal.
We're loaning him to Aberdeen in January. Shit.
Included in that, yeah.
A few more comments coming in. What is going on? Like, when have we ever been at 20-12 knowing that
something's coming?
Something's coming. Yeah, this is
But it's Friday. It's okay. Good thing it's not a Wednesday or Thursday.
It's right. It's
Fair
right.
play. It says 170 people are still tuning in, waiting.
The
Still.
hardcore
So
ones.
fair play. That is. You poor bastards.
Or they fell asleep and just forgot to turn it off.
Yeah, we'll take that.
I don't mind. It's still a view. International clearance. Dave makes a good point here. International clearance until 12.
Yeah, and the window. Yeah, the window shuts at different times today, doesn't it? In different leagues, I saw as well. Not it has anything to do with us, but I think it does.
Do you believe that it's a real? Yeah, I got a message yesterday from Flemming.
No chance.
No. I mean, we can all sit here and guess, but I think this has been in the pipeline longer than it hasn't just come today. I don't think so. I think there has been a fee to agree first. Once that was done, he was ready to go to the medical.
Yeah, of course. He's I don't know if you recall last season at the start, he was really poor at the start. I don't know if you recall that. And there was a lot of people saying, he's had his head turned and all that kind of stuff by the Burnley move. Maybe there was some truth to that because, we definitely didn't see the same Zian Flemming last season, I don't think.
Yeah, probably not.
But then it was a very topsy-turvy season, wasn't it? It weren't like he knew where he was under Rowett. And we had a settled team and we was for the crap football. We did well still.
Can I just say,
look at that.
Just a donation there. Thank you, Osh21. Also, you say 7 million minimum is unreal business when you watch him. Yeah, I think we're all agreeing that it's not a bad fee there. But just want to say thank you very much for that. That donation to the channel, it goes straight to Cancer Research UK. Everything that we make will be going there. So really, thank you very much. And if anyone else wants to donate, you're more than welcome to. We don't ask for it, but whether you donate or whether you subscribe and you just watch our adverts, it all goes to Cancer Research UK. But just a massive thank you. Really, really do appreciate that. What else do we have? What happened to this Jed Wallace stuff? It was never happening. That's what happened. It was never happening. Ever. It was never
Got
happening.
excited for about 10 minutes, didn't we? And Rich, as he said, put a pin in that balloon pretty sharp. Pardon the pun.
Abnormal calf injury bollocks. Yeah, I mean, yeah, who knows? Who knows whether he was injured or not? I do believe he was, but seemed to last quite long, didn't it?
I mean, I don't know if you're allowed to talk about rumours, but I'm just seeing this again from a different profile about this Bradley Fink from FC Basel.
Yeah, it's been doing the rounds, that, hasn't it?
Yeah. Are we doing a double announcement or?
I saw that, but it was like by two random people that have like 200 followers. So I don't actually think.
352. Nah.
Steve said, "Where's the link for the cancer donations?" This is really bad, but I don't know. I don't know. I mean, Osho21 knows, but I think you can. I think
That could well be my uncle.
Thank you, Steve. I think there's a way of it's for a message by having your message starred. You can donate to the channel. I'll have to look into that because I don't know. Shows you how much I've looked into monetizing it. What else have we got here? All the way from New Zealand. Is that where your uncle's joining us from?
Yes, mate.
Oh wow! What time is it there, Steve?
You must have just woken up now.
Shame we're not.
Dan's just on a wind up to keep us on here all night.
It's Hull City signed Abdul Kamara. That's a good deal for them.
Where's he come from?
Norwich.
That's the Norwich one, isn't it?
Yeah, he was on loan at Pompey last year, I think, and did really well. Mate, Osh21, like, thank you so much. Not only has he donated again, he's actually told me how others can donate. So, thank you. Really, really appreciate that, mate. Osh21 or Oosh21, maybe that's how I should be pronouncing it. Apologies. Says, well done, boys. Another one for charity. Fuck Flemming now. Go on Super Chat and donate, mate. Click on the comments, then Super Chat. Thank you for educating me, mate, on what this is. Yeah, really appreciate that. Thank you. Thanks very much.
I would say one thing that's positive right now is that we've played 5 games now. Flemming hasn't played one of them. And we've looked all right, actually. Apart from the Leyton Orient game, we actually looked decent. And that, for me, gives me a little bit of optimism that if we do bring in another striker, that, could be all right.
This is a good point. Heads up, chaps. YouTube takes a 30% cut of all super chats. Of course they do. Why wouldn't they take a cut? Well, I can't prevent that, but what I can say is we certainly won't be. So yeah, but thank you very much for that, Johnny. Thank you very much, mate. Much appreciated. Really, really do appreciate that. This is fantastic. Thank you. It's 10 to 12. Should we go till 12? And if it isn't announced by 12, it isn't going to be. I think that's fair to say, right? You right with that, chap?
Mate.
Yeah.
I feel like someone's at the club just watching.
Yeah,
It's
probably Max.
How long do you reckon?
We'll end the stream and then they'll announce it at like 1:15 or 1:30.
1:12, yeah.
Well said, Harvey. So am I. Mate. GT says, just wait a Mill to release the cringy Welcome to Mill video now for the Serb, similar to the Kale video a few weeks ago. I have messaged him again. And I don't know if my guest that I wanted to bring on's even still awake. So I'm going to try and message them again just in case we do hear something.
Should we know it's all said and done? Should we all rate Millwall's transfer window out of 10? Let's put a figure on it. Out of 10, what would we rate Millwall's transfer window as a whole? If anyone wants to go first.
Car.
Yeah.
I'll go with a 6.5 because I think we've ultimately sold our best player on the last day or in the last few hours, but we've moved them on for a solid fee, and which is looking like 7+ million, and we've replaced him with a young striker, in which we've also broken looks like we're going to break our transfer window, yet to be announced, of course. Break our transfer record. Sorry, I think Jafet Tanganga was a good coup, and we've also invested for the future in Daniel Kelly and Aziz. Are we still a few bodies short? Yes, I do think we are. And I think defensively, we could have done with strengthening a little bit more. But overall, 6.5 out of 10 for me.
Mm-hmm. I'll go next.
Yeah, there's a lot of optimism in this.
6. I'll say 6 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
If Coburn was done on a permanent, I might have upgraded it to a 7.
I like what we're doing. I've always wanted us to recruit younger players. I think it's good, and I do feel positive that we're going in the right direction. You got to get that balance right of people for the future and people for right now. So I'm just hoping we have got that balance, because obviously there's not. If you look at all of our signings, how many of them are proven in the Championship?
That's why I was going to say 6, because I know there's a lot of optimism and I understand that, But other than Jeff, we're not signing anyone that's proven in the Championship. That's my major concern. Boys, I just want to say we've had 2 more donations. I want to make sure that we thank these guys. So thank you very much. So Tom Perkins, thank you very much. Good show tonight, boys. Hopefully an announcement very soon. Really appreciate that, mate. Thank you. Thank you ever so much. And then we also have another donation from John. Great show. Thank you very much, John. Really, really appreciate that. Absolute legends. Seriously. Do you know what?
Well done, boys.
We say this all the time, but the Millwall family, like, it's class, isn't it? It really, really is. We are a club like no other, and I will very, very proud to be part of it.
But you don't understand it before you actually meet the people. I've said this to so many people, and all they watch is Green Street Hooligan and Football Hooligan. I was like, you have no idea what this club represents at all. You know, everyone I've met along the way, when I first came to London, when I lived in London, everyone's just been very, very positive, very curious, very friendly. Always a pleasure coming down to them. I have to say, all my mates I bring, they're just like fantastic club. Honestly, all my Manchester United friends, Tottenham, Port Vale supporters, whatever, enjoy it every time. Really, so something to be proud of. Honestly.
Yes, but when are you coming over, mate? We're like
well, apart from having the floors done, then we're also expecting a baby in October. So I was looking at the QPR game in February, as it looks now. Really hoping to get over that one.
Are you what sort of name was you thinking for the little one? Was you thinking Alan Campbell, or what?
It's gonna be a girl.
Congratulations,
Elaine Camp.
Mihailo's nice, Jesper. After he scores a hat trick.
Yeah, I know, but it's going to be a girl. So, but they're all very supportive down. My girlfriend and the family and my family, so they know the team that I support. And I've got, it used to be 4:00 every Saturday. My girlfriend knows I have to watch it somewhere. So if we go out using the iPad, I just said I just want those 2 hours during the weekend to watch my game. And we can do everything else. If you want to go to IKEA, go shopping, it's fine. But I need those 2 hours. I don't care where I am. And she's all for it.
Love that. Love that balance. Love that balance. Yeah. Oh wow! Sorry. What a donation, Danny. Wow. Thank you very much, mate. Thank you. Seriously, thank you so much. Really, really, really appreciate it. That's fantastic. Thank you. And Ron as well. Thank you ever so much. Guys, this is
spent more than Millwall at the minute.
Yeah, you spent more than Millwall. That's actually a good point, because at the minute we're massively net spend.
We've been profit, haven't we? Yeah.
This guy must be my dad or something. So thank you, Stephen, mate. Much appreciated. Appreciate that. It's the only person I could think of that would write that.
You haven't got like an alias account, have you?
Might have.
You've set one up.
You should see what he's like in the WhatsApp group. He's horrible to us. Cracking the whip, demanding. Horrible.
I actually am. I said to you, I think you had like 10 minutes, didn't you, Ben, before we recorded? I was like, "You've got 10 minutes. Can you do this?" So yeah, I am. I'm a little bit demanding of you lads, but you're all good. JL, thank you, mate. Another one. Thank you ever so much. This is
Jesus
amazing. Thank you very much. We are going to be joined by Dan Marsh any minute. He's going to come on and hopefully give us some updates. I think my guest, which is really frustrating. Oh, wait, hold on a minute.
It's your missus, isn't it? It's your missus, isn't it?
He says he's going to wait. He says he's going to wait, but we'll see. We'll see. My missus is going to do a nut. I'm going to have to take her out for a meal or something.
Same here. It's 1:00.
Yeah, you're in trouble, Jesper. You've had a beer and you're all right. I'm just like on the old H2O.
Yeah. Keep it in the fridge.
What else we got in the chat
Right.
here? Probably younger than me, Stephen, mate. I'm only winding you up. Come on, Dan. Take your time, Dan. Can I go to bed now, Dan? Anytime. I messaged him saying, you do realise that people are genuinely asking after you. So yeah, he'll be on very soon.
Can we, just while we are waiting for that, can we just
Ben.
really... I think Ant said that before.
Are you Ant, by any chance?
Yeah, I am Ant. Yeah, that is my other account.
I just
I'm
want to
still
say
waiting.
sorry, Ant, for your wife's vision problems. we hope with some kind of ointment that can clear it up.
Clear it up. Oh dear. Anyway, go back to more serious things.
What's the number?
The transfer window.
Can we actually go back to revisiting Birmingham spending £20 million? It's a £15 million initial fee, yeah, with £5 million worth of add-ons. It's mental.
We've just got to all hope they fail, like you said earlier. Just, yeah.
I mean, what chance you got? If League One teams are now doing that. Like,
how do you control it? Like, how do you? I just don't know. I don't know how you control it. I really don't.
as a Birmingham fan, you'd absolutely be buzzing. But there would still be a little bit, maybe again, pessimistic Millwall coming out of me here. But I'd be like, if this goes tits up, we're fucked.
We're talking about not affording a training ground because it's 50 million or whatever, and we're going to scale it down. They're blowing 20 million on a. He's decent. He's a good young player, but he's not. I don't think he's ever going to play for England or anything.
No. I did just see a tweet from TalkSport saying that was double the fee that Liverpool have paid for Chiesa.
Crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, yeah, the wages won't be the same, but still.
No, obviously.
I just want to thank Caroline for this comment. This is a very nice comment. We're trying, Caroline, all times to put out good content. So thank you for that. I appreciate that. I appreciate everyone that listens to us. Dan is typing in the code to join. Apparently, he's messaging me. So he's coming. And by the time he joins, let's hope we have an announcement at 12. I really bloody hope we do.
How many are still on listening to us waffling away, Chris?
I don't know, because my number, I think, is wrong. Go on, Dave. Love that. Love that. Thank you, Anthony. Cheers, mate. Well, we've got 60 seconds till midnight.
170 still. 170 people still watching.
170. Jeez.
That is mental for this time of night, isn't it? Well done, fellas.
Awake or asleep?
Yeah, loads of people just falling asleep with it on in the background, I think.
Except Ant's missus. Just looking at you, just constantly.
Making me blush, Paul. Making me blush.
Yeah, look, this poor man's. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means.
Yeah, what's fake taxi, Ant? Never heard of it.
Can you elaborate?
Mr. Reynolds. Sorry, mate. Sorry. Right, well, it's midnight. Have we got anything? Still nothing. For fuck's sake. Oh, mate.
But can we just talk about Zian's injury then? Because do you reckon that he didn't want to play because he was worried about getting injured and a move wouldn't happen? How does that work?
I'd say that's likely, mate. Yeah.
But how does that work? Because surely there's a physio at the club who can, check up on him and see if he's actually injured. I don't know how it works. It's just conspiracy.
It would definitely be an element of that. So if he fails his medical, it's the only thing that would affect the deal, really, wouldn't it? So if the figures have been agreed by the clubs, yeah, the only thing that would stop it happening at that point is the medical. So you can only think that it'd be protecting it in some way, mate.
Yeah, that's also what I'm guessing, to be honest.
What is? I was certain we were going to hear at midnight.
Rich still hasn't. There's nothing out from Rich saying go to bed, no more deals. So
has anyone actually asked him? I'm sure they must have.
Yeah, there's been loads popping up. People have commenting on everything, saying where's the Serb, where's the Serb, where's the Serb, or the Bulgarian but pulpit.
Yeah, Rich. Rich, let's just say Rich is going to be coming on Chat with Chaps at some point. It won't be tonight for obvious reasons because he's incredibly busy doing all of the deals for Millwall. But yes, we hopefully will have the opportunity to talk to Rich at some point in the not too distant future, which is...
Is that an exclusive, mate? Transfer deadline exclusive?
Oh, it's been announced.
Oh, is it?
Oh, yes, yeah.
Oh, it's been announced.
Don't go to bed.
Don't.
It says don't go to bed in Serbian.
It's all wake up, those who sleep.
Wake up.
Wake up now.
Wake up, lads.
By the club or by Rich?
The club.
By the
club, yeah.
Don't go to bed.
It is on. Oh no.
Oh, here he goes.
It was this man calling me. There he is, the man, the myth, the legend. He exists. It is the one and only Dan Marsh. Mate, we have 170 people here and they've all been saying, we want Dan Marsh. How you doing, Dan?
Oh, yeah, not bad. Oh, you poor sods, all saying that. Yeah, tired, mate. Tired. It's been a hectic one. Been much to talk about, boys.
No. We've just done 3 hours and tumbleweed. Well, it looks like there's something to talk about now, Dan.
Yeah.
What's what can anything you can share? Is looks like it's done. The club have announced don't go to sleep yet.
Yeah. So a bit of a late one. But yeah, it's been sort of dragging on. I mean, it's difficult. You can't without sort of giving too much away, like in the sort of final hours of a transfer window, in terms of sort of getting in touch with people and stuff like that, becomes a lot more difficult. And I imagine, just a little bit of insight, but yeah, it's been sort of, dragging along all day sort of stuff. And obviously with the Zian deal, these are two pretty big deals that the club have been obviously working on and stuff. But yeah, it looks like obviously over the line, which is positive. I've got to be honest, I don't think we'd have, as good as the deal for Zian was, and the fact that he wanted to, he was obviously open to the move. I don't think we'd have agreed to do that if we didn't have someone to bring in ourselves. I mean, the debate would be, and this is probably for another day, as you've been on for 3 hours, and I've been at my computer for the best part of 9. It's probably a debate for another day, but it comes down to whether you think that is enough with him going. I know obviously Josh Coburn coming on loan as well. But yeah, when you look at the transfer window as a whole, has there been enough done sort of thing? That will be sort of debated, I suppose, in the days and weeks to come. But, we needed a striker or two. We've got a striker or two. Whether they'll do the business, only time will tell. But I mean, on paper, it's hard not to get excited. This is Millwall. We don't, unless something's drastically changed or anything like that, it's set to be, a club record deal, on a striker with a good profile, who's a really good age. So, it's an exciting deal, hopefully.
Yes, mate. And do you know? Can you either rule out or rule in that is that it? Because I know there were some other deals that we've been working on, but do you think that'll be it for us tonight? Do you know anything?
I think that's it. I don't know. I saw the report about the Watford striker, but it's not something I've checked into. Like, so for people who don't know, so I've been sort of doing like general stuff on the desk at work tonight. So it's not. I don't know. As far as I know, these were the two deals I was aware of throughout the day. That's not to say, that nothing else will come. I wouldn't, as far as I'm aware, there's not. But that's not to say I'm right.
Yeah. No.
Dan, and do you think we would have brought him in if Flemming didn't go?
I mean, well, we was looking to, obviously, before the Zian stuff come in. I think, Neil Harris was quite blunt, wasn't he? Like he said after the Bradshaw injury, we need a centre forward. We probably need two now. So I think so. Again, that's just my assumption. Like in terms of the inner workings and details, I'm not too privy. I know there's been like lots of speculation and stuff, which I'm not really going to get into. But I got the impression that we were looking to do more than one striker before the deadline, and I think obviously, like when I sort of put the Lyndon Dykes story out, so it's no secret we tried to do a deal for Josh Coburn. That obviously a permanent deal didn't materialise. So then obviously, the Serbian lad sort of come up, and Josh has obviously come in on loan. What I do know is he's been on the radar for a little while. He's not sort of one they've sort of looked up in the last week of the window. The impression I got was always that there was going to be more than one striker after Tom got injured on Tuesday night.
Dan, just on the Coburn piece, was there any reason why the permanent deal fell through that you could share? Any reasons behind that? Was it Middlesbrough thing? So we spoke to one of the Middlesbrough fans and they were quite keen to keep him. But yeah, was there any reason why it was a permanent or the permanent deal didn't go through and that there's no obligation to buy?
I'm not sure, to be honest, mate. Like all I heard, the last I heard was that it wasn't dead, but there was sort of like a stalemate in stuff with talks and stuff. So I would assume it would maybe be about valuations, things like that. But that's just an assumption. I'm not. I won't sit here and pretend I know otherwise.
But Dan, do you think there's a missed opportunity here? Obviously, we let Flemming go for what is mentioned now is around 7 or 8 million. That if we'd done it earlier, maybe we could have brought someone in as well alongside. Hopefully, we're going to announce this Serbian guy, but there could have been other options then for extra money to bring someone else in, different caliber to the team.
Potentially. I mean, yeah. I mean, there's an element of that. Obviously, that's the caveat of doing deals this late in the window. But then, who's to say? We can only do what's on the table. I think Zian said in the quotes to the Burnley website that the sort of the rekindling of their interest sort of come about yesterday morning, sort of thing. So you can't sell a player if there's no one to sell a player to. But I get your point. It's a weird one, Zian. Like, I think personally, and I think a few others are in this boat. I think probably Romain Esse is best suited long term to sort of maybe moving more central. Obviously, the caveat is that he's been doing really well on the wing, and we're not overly blessed with wingers. But yeah, I think if it would happened earlier in the window, potentially, yeah, there was probably a chance that we'd have done a bit more. I think we probably would have liked to have done a bit more today if he was going. But like I said, as far as I'm aware, that's not the case.
Hey.
There we go.
Finally announced, guys.
And Dan, another question. Do you think that's going to keep Harris happy now in terms of incomings?
Sorry, mate, what was that?
Do you think that'll keep Harris happy now? The players we brought him? Or was there an appetite for him to bring anyone else in?
I'm not too sure, to be honest, mate. I mean, the proof of being the pudding. I mean, he said he needed bodies in the door. What I would say is I think that, and I think I've been quite vocal on this over the last few days, I think in terms of transfers that the deals are probably, well, they're later than we would have liked them to come. You look at the outlay on Ivanovic, the board have obviously put some money down and stuff, and then they will recruit back through through the Flemming kind of sale when that obligation becomes permanent. We've brought a lot of bodies in through the door. The only thing I'd question is, and although Ivanovic is a good profile, if you look at sort of established Championship players that we brought in, Jeffet Tanganga obviously had a very good loan. Ryan Wintle sort of like established at this level. He's played a lot of games for Cardiff. He's a regular in their team. That would be the only thing I'd question on a personal level. In terms of Neil Harris, I don't know. I hope so, because I think we need him. I think, and I've been quite vocal. I think he deserved a fair crack at taking us on this season after the job he did last year. I don't think. I think with the signings coming in so late, I would maybe kind of debate whether that has been the case up to this point. But there's bodies in the door now. We've got different options in attack, which I think was really important. Obviously, Macaulay Langstaff is a similar sort of profile to Tom Bradshaw, and I know he's since gone out on loan, Kevin Nisbet. But I think we needed more. We needed more pace, obviously, and a bit of flair, a bit of that X factor. Obviously, Femi Aziz is coming in as well. So bodies are in. Whether that will keep Chopper happy, only Chopper can answer that, mate.
I'm not happy. I'm going to say it. I would have liked another body, to be honest. I think we've now got some good forward options, but I would have liked another player. And I think, if I'm honest, I think the club were trying to do that, but for whatever reason, we haven't been able to do that. That's just my view. But I don't want to put a damper on the fact that we have just broken our transfer record on a 19-year-old. We will put out tomorrow a couple of really good shows that I'm glad we filmed now, Ben. we done a bit of analysis on what we can expect from Ivanovic, and then we also spoke to the marketing director of the club we've just signed him from to get the lowdown from the horse's mouth, as it were. So we've got those two waiting in the wings to go out. So we'll can't imagine anyone will watch them tonight, so I'll put them out tomorrow. Tanmarsh for England.
Don't know about that.
Honestly, mate, they've been wanting you all night.
Mate, Tanmarsh for bed. Yeah. We'll go tomorrow.
Oh, there you go.
Nope.
I asked you the same question as you asked us. I'm going, yeah.
Oh, really? Right. No, I'm working. I'm working the weekend. I've just had a few weekends of before, so that's me now until I'll be down there for Luton. But I won't be down there tomorrow, unfortunately. I might watch it if anyone from work is listening. I definitely won't watch it. But yeah, I might see if there's a way to watch or listen.
Good stuff.
All right. Should we just give it like 2 minutes until because they've announced it, but they haven't, right? This is the.
Surely it must be on soon.
I think it is on there.
Yeah, there's a little video, but there's no information yet.
It's on the website.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, there's a video out.
Yeah.
So we have it, guys.
So he won't play. He won't play tomorrow, but obviously it might not be the worst thing in the world. 2-week break, obviously, sort of settling. It would be a hell of a lot, but yeah.
He's going to be away on international duty.
Is that for the Serbia?
Yeah, he's been called up for the national team.
Has he?
Yeah, the proper first team. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's
Has he played much this season? I haven't actually looked into this. Has he played much this season?
Well, George,
when you watch our show, George,
when you watch our show, we'll tell you all about it. But we'll give you a sneak peek that he has scored a goal every 168 minutes.
Nice.
In the oh yes, mate. Don't you worry.
I teed that one up perfectly. You're welcome.
You did. Right, guys. I think. Should we close it out? I'm just going to read a snippet here. That what Millwall have put out on their official page. I think this is from Steve Gallen. Mihailo is a big signing for the football club. He is soon to be a Serbian international and is 19 years old. So he fits the bill of the players we've tried to sign this transfer window. He's young, powerful, athletic and quick. More of a number 9 in running the channels and good with his back to goal. I think we all understand we have to be patient with him. I'm sure the fans will be, and I know we will be. We're really pleased to get this deal over the line. There you have it. We have our new 19-year-old signing. We've broken the transfer fee. I quote the former marketing director of Vojvodina, where we signed him. He looks like the new Alexander Mitrovic. So let's see how that one plays out. No pressure at all. I'm sure we'll be patient with him. But guys, can I just say, like, over the course of the 9 hours we've been doing this, we've had over 2,500 people watch, which is just, it's insane. It is absolutely insane. So thank you. We've also raised quite a bit of money for charity. So everyone that donated, going to read those names out again. Oosh21, Johnny Metalcore, Tom Perkins, John MFC, Danny F, Ron Evans, JL, Jeff Chandler. Sorry, Matt, I didn't see that one come in. Thank you very much, Jeff. You're an absolute legend. All of those guys, thank you so much. Thank you for everything you're doing. We really appreciate it. And hopefully we will see you down the den, some of you, tomorrow. That's it from us. Good night. God bless. See you later.
Bye.